Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brewbuilt Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brewbuilt line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brewbuilt Conicals. You can trust Brewbuilt with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brewbuilt at morebeer.com.
Yeah, I've messed around with those. There's another manufacturer out there called Victoria, but it's the same thing. It's like for mole, or not mole, but like a corn kind of thing. And it is very hard to keep at a. I've never been able to really get it consistent, but I've never ran more than half a pound through it. And it pretty much destroys your grain husk. So.
And are these motorized as well, or are they just hand cranked?
No, this is a hand crank. It's like you clamp it on the side like a countertop. The side of your table or something like that, and you just sit there and crank the thing. So roller mills are definitely better than the Coronas.
All right. Let me back up even further. I go down to my local homebrew shop, which is Beer Bear More Beer, and I buy my grains, and they crush them for me in their mill there. So do I need a mill at home because they do it for me? I guess I'm wondering, why someone needs a mill.
Well, probably you're lucky.
Okay.
If you're one of the guys who's getting to go to More Beer, you're probably getting a really great crush. But a lot of us are faced with going to a homebrew shop that, they may not have a mill, or they've got nothing but a Corona, or they've got some other mill that, doesn't work well. And maybe it's not even a bad mill. It's just they don't want to adjust it. They don't want to play around with it. They don't want to let you tweak your crush. So if you have your own mill, you can do all that yourself. I mean, I was going, before I started doing the mill business, I went to a homebrew shop, and they had a really good mill. They had a Schmidling, which is a great mill, but they wouldn't let you adjust it. They didn't want anybody to mess with it.
Okay.
Just grind it up, it'll be fine. And it was. I was always faced with, well, geez, what kind of efficiency am I going to get this time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now that makes sense to me, because I guess you're looking for consistency, and we talk about that all the time here anyway, if you want to repeat your beers, and it really could make a difference in your efficiency, I assume, if your grains are crushed a certain way one time, and then they're a different way the next time.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, that's one of the biggest benefits is consistency. I guarantee you won't be able to taste the difference between beer brewed with one other mill and a different mill, but if your consistency, if you can't hit the OG that you want to hit and be able to accurately predict the efficiency you're going to get, then you're going to be way off base every time you brew.
Well,
so.
and another reason, Jay, to answer your question, why do you want a mill at home? It's a lot of guys are into the bulk buy thing, So if you don't live near a homebrew shop, and you go and your club buys bulk grain or whatever, how are you going to mill it?
Right.
Then you all go to one dude's house and you're stand in line to use his mill. This way you have your own mill, you can buy bulk grain, store your own grain, and you can kind of brew on the fly, and unmilled malt will be fresher than milled malt. So, some people, they'll buy it in bulk, 10, 20 pounds of pre-milled specialty malts or whatever, and they'll keep it for 6 months.
Yeah.
And, you're not getting as fresh of a flavor, but if you have your own mill at home, you can go ahead and just do that and just keep it unmilled and then grind it right and then put it right in the mash tun.
And it'll stay fresher longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's a natural
I know that Jameel, even though he has access to B3, he mills his own malt too.
Yeah.
And I think, Jameel, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I just have conversations I've had with you. I think he enjoys the consistency part of it. He wants control over his crush. I also know he is a guy who likes to have a bunch of grains around so that he can then kind of go and pick and choose whatever his recipe is. He knows what he has on hand. So that's a good point, JP, that I know Jameel has told me about, that he If he's got different specialty malts,
Exactly.
Then he just keeps a whole. I think he goes to B3 and buys a whole shitload of malt.
Yeah,
That's exactly
keeps
what
an
it is.
inventory.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, maybe this question gets us into some of the upgrades about the mill that you've given us. I know that the mill that Jamil gave me was a hand crank, and I am one lazy douche. So sitting there for the 35 minutes that it took me to crank that, I was doing a 10-gallon batch of beer. I had a good amount. I think I had, if I remember right, somewhere around 24 pounds of grain, and I've got like the bag in one hand. I'm pouring it into the chute, and I'm grinding with the other. I'm holding it down with my foot over the bucket. It was ridiculous, and I thought, I don't know why anybody wants to do this. So is that the only way that I could? I mean, does everybody go through that?
Well, a hand crank works just fine if you don't have a drill. But golly, you can go buy a drill for $29.99 at almost anywhere. So why hand crank? Although I do have this theory though. If you've ever made homemade ice cream where when you're a kid and with a wooden bucket and you had to hand crank it,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but it always tasted better when I was done hand cranking that ice cream. So
I did feel good about myself
after you hand
get
cranked.
more intimate with your beer. Burn off the calories from the beer you just drank and and hand crank it. But no, there's really no reason not to hand crank per se. It's a lot slower and. You're not going to get a better crush, and for heaven's sake, don't buy a 3-roller mill and then put a hand crank on it. You're wasting the money you spent on that. So
yeah, I agree. Because as nice as this thing looks, I don't care how well it crushes the grain. I'm not sitting out there cranking again. All my cranking is done in the room.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it back on the porch anymore. The neighbors are getting pissed.
Yeah, well, the judge told you not to do that either. So.
Yeah, I said I have to stop. All right, let's talk about some of the qualities of this. We did mention the knurling, and we should explain what that is and why it's important in this. And I hadn't, until 2 days ago, the word was French to me. I had no idea. So tell us about knurling.
Knurling is going to be the trickiest thing that a machinist is going to do to build that mill. Drilling holes and threading them is one thing, and making the hole the right size for the knob is another thing. But when you start talking about the knurling, that's a whole different subject. It's kind of an art form. It's not something where you just stick the piece in the machine and you press a button and it goes and it just works. Because you can talk to my machinists that build the mills and they'll tell you they had fits with the knurling. They had to try many different speeds and feeds to get it just right, and they do it all in one pass. If you're doing it on a manual machine, it takes forever because you're probably going to do it in more than one pass.
Mm-hmm.
But they do it in one pass, so they had to basically do trial and error to get it exactly right. The speed is how fast it's rolling. It's rolling around in the lathe, and the feed is how fast it's going across the roller. And they had to try different combinations to get it to work right. Another key thing is having the roller absolutely true. If you start off with a little bit of run out in the roller itself, then you're never going to get a good knurl. You basically have to make a truing pass on the roller to start with before you start knurling. That really helps a lot too. We found that out pretty quickly. But it basically use two little bitty rollers that have they look like gears almost, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the gears are cut at an angle, and they go in a special tool holder that holds them apart, a certain distance, and then you basically run those rollers up against the outer diameter of the roller. And you press them in, and then you essentially move that tool holder across the roller to cut that diamond pattern into the steel.
Okay.
So,
and that's the pattern, of course, that's actually contributing to a nice crush of the grain.
Right, exactly. I mean, the knurling is really what allows the roller to pull the grain into the gap and to crush it.
Okay.
You know, and it shreds it a little bit and crushes it a little bit. You know, if you had completely smooth rollers, then you know your grain would just kind of bounce around in there and not really do anything, unless you had very large diameter rollers. You know, if you had 3 to 5 inch diameter rollers, then you can use an almost completely smooth roller if they're big enough diameter.
That makes sense, yeah.
For a smoother gap.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Nothing wrong with
Right.
that. But, and I should just, and I'm just adding, like I said, I just found out about this a couple days ago myself. Colin was talking about trying to get these made, maybe it was when he was with More Beer, and saying that when he would speak to machinists about knurling for them, most of them would say, absolutely not. I won't do it. You can forget it. You know, he'd start talking about the project, and as soon as he mentioned knurling, they said, nope, sorry, you'll have to go somewhere else. Did you?
My guys have some guts. They, you know, they tried it. You know, they had a little trouble to begin with. You know, I mean, they worked at it, and you know, the first set of rollers, I was like, guys, this is not going to work.
Yeah,
you're going to have to work at that a little bit, and they figured it out. So it is a tricky process. You know, I really would love for More Beer to carry our mills. I think I shot them an email a while back when we first started to see about them carrying our mills. But you know, if they want to design something, we could even have it built, and they could, you know, we could basically be their OEM if they were interested in that. So,
all right,
we'd be way open to that.
Well, I'll pass on the MP3 to Chris Graham himself. He can tune in and decide, see how that goes. You never know.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Now, I have a question for you. And I should say, if you're just tuning in, by the way, we're giving away a Monster Mill today. If you hit the donate button on our donate page, just hit the dog tag on the homepage. It says BN Army. It'll take you to the donate page. Hit the one-time donation. Raffle tickets are $5. So if you donate $5, you get 1 name in the hat. If you donate $20, you get 4 names in the hat, and so on and so forth. So we're doing that up until 7:30. And Fred Francis from Monster Brewing Hardware has been very kind and generous to donate this great mill to us, so we can give it to you. So it's $5 a raffle ticket, and that's how you do it. We'll be doing it until 7:30. That's how long you have to do it. I want to know why you got in the mill business in general, Fred. Were you, I mean, was there a need? Were you unsatisfied with mills that you found you were using and felt you could do better?
No, it didn't happen like that at all. Basically, in I guess it was late '99. I was at one of my homebrew club meetings, and a guy in the club brought in a mill, and he's like, "Check this out." And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Wow, that's great!" You know, it was a really nice piece of work. And he said, "Yeah, I've been building these things, and I'm trying to sell them, and I'm not having a lot of luck selling them." And it just so happens that I had another friend who was basically starting a web hosting company. You know, he was going to host websites out of his house. He's like, "Man, you need to come up with something for me to host. I need to do some work for you." And I'm like, and then I started thinking, I'm like, why in the world can I not sell this mill on the internet? And see if we can make some money doing that.
Yeah.
So I basically had a handshake deal with this guy. I was going to sell the mills. I'd take care of all the advertising, run the web page, do all that kind of stuff. And he would build the mills, and that was in 2000. We started selling mills, and then time went by. We sold bunches of mills. You probably heard of Frankenstein. That was who I was with. So if you bought one of their mills anytime since we started up until around September last year, then I was probably the guy who packed it up and shipped it to you, and answered your questions and stuff.
All right.
And so, things changed. The business was a little different, and I decided that I would go it on my own, try something different. So then Monster was born. I found somebody to build what I thought was a good mill. I made a lot of design changes and improvements, and came up with something I thought would sell. And so I found some guys who could build it, and there you go.
Let's talk about some of the upgrades that you mentioned about this one. You said that stainless steel is an upgrade. And so I have a couple questions about that. Does that mean that the whole thing is stainless steel? And 2, why does that make a difference to me? Why is that an upgrade?
Well, the stainless we use is 303. It's a little bit more machinable than some of the other alloys that you guys may be familiar with in the brewing industry, like 304 and 316. It's a lot more corrosion resistant. That's one of the biggest benefits. It's not going to rust on you. It's going to, if you decided you want to do wet milling or something like that, or, say you live in Hawaii or, on the coast somewhere, or, hey, maybe San Francisco.
Yeah.
If you have a moist environment, that you're going to keep the mill in, the 303 stainless won't rust. It's slightly magnetic, so, I know some stainlesses are not magnetic, so don't freak out if a magnet sticks to it, but it doesn't stick near as well as regular steel. But
okay.
But yeah, that's the biggest benefit is the corrosion resistance. It's also tough. It will last long. You'll get better wear out of stainless than most of the other stuff you can get. So.
I feel like I could kill everyone in the studio with that mill, and it'd look exactly the same.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
don't drop it on your toe, that's for sure.
You want to talk consistency?
Yeah.
I can brain 4 people.
Yeah, you want to talk durability? Look at the blood all over this thing.
Yeah.
Not an ounce of rust.
No, see all the sculpt fragments?
Yeah,
Man, somebody needs a vacation.
They crush right through.
Yeah.
I am a little angry
Not
today.
even a dent.
Not even a dent on this thing. So it's just a durability.
Yeah. So are these things made that last a lifetime? I mean, what's the...
Well, my experience shows that you should be able to get 15,000 pounds of grain through those 303 stainless rollers before you need to think about sharpening them or having them re-knurled. So I don't know,
Wow.
Only the very most prolific homebrewers will be able to wear it out.
That's like 2 months for you, Shet.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
wanted to
3.
point out also our standard steel that we offer, the non-upgraded steel, where it's not, corrosion resistant like the stainless is, it's actually harder, and it will last probably just, I can't say unequivocally how long it'll last because I haven't had a brew pub customer buy one yet and tell me, oh yeah, we put 20,000 pounds through it. So
yeah.
My anticipation is that the standard steel we use, which is 1144, will last probably just as long as the stainless. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your shaft for a second?
Sure.
Well, you mentioned upgrading the shaft, and that part I don't get, because to me it just seems like a basic part of any mill. It has to have. Am I wrong that the shaft is actually the part that you're going to be using to turn the mill and do your crushing?
Right. That's right. That's where you're going to attach your drill or your pulley or your coupling for a direct drive gear motor or something like that.
Okay. So what's the upgrade that I'm looking at as I'm staring at your mill here?
Well, the rollers are all one piece, okay?
All right.
Everything you see, if you take the mill apart, the whole roller is one piece of metal. The axles are one piece. The shaft is the same. It's an integral part of the whole roller. It's all together. I mean, we basically start with a big bar of steel and lay it down to the diameter of the shaft. So it's all one piece.
I see.
The larger shafts are, if you're going to motorize, you're going to want to put probably a 10 or 11-inch pulley on the mill itself. And a pulley that's going to be that big is only going to come with a half-inch bore, okay? It won't come with a 3/8-inch bore. So if you get the small shaft and you try to put the pulley on there, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Unless you get you could make it work. You'd have to get some sort of adapter bushing or something like that to make the shaft size larger so that the pulley would fit on there. But that's one of the reasons. That's the main reason we offer it. Is if you want to motorize, you can put it on the larger shaft without any problem.
Story of my life.
It's stronger. Yeah, it's stronger too. If you're worried about bending it, or you could break a bowling ball in a sandbox with your bare hands. You might want to upgrade to the larger shaft just so you don't have to worry about getting it to wobble or bending it or anything like that.
You hear that, Bevo?
You can always upgrade.
Ready for an
Beavis.
upgrade?
Hey, just talking about shaft.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here.
Yeah.
She can't take it anymore.
Let's talk about shaft.
I do have this. We could probably categorize as one of my dumb questions, but so the mill arrives, and it doesn't have a hopper on it, and it's my assumption that, I mean, what the hell am I going to do for a hopper? I'm not a carpenter, and is that a normal mill thing, or do you sell a hopper? Did that box not arrive? I don't get why there's not a hopper.
Well, admittedly, Justin, if I had a hopper, I would certainly be selling you one. That is for sure.
Okay, good. I just don't, and I've never bought a mill, so I don't know. I'm honestly asking if this is a regular thing.
No, it's not necessarily a regular thing. I mean, like the barley crusher. That's those guys have been kicking my butt, and the reason they are is because a lot of people don't want to build a hopper. They don't want to build a base. They don't want to do any of that stuff. So they take it out of the box, and boom, they put some grain in it and they go to it. So with our mill, you get. You buy just the guts, you buy just the main mill part, and you have to add all that stuff yourself. So it's really not that daunting when you start looking at how simple you can put something together. You could use something as simple as a piece of plywood with a hole cut in it, and a milk carton. Or a milk jug, with the bottom cut out as a funnel,
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's really simple to rig something up. I mean, basically you've got to mount the mill on some kind of sort of sturdy base. I recommend either high-density fiberboard or something like 3/4-inch plywood will work well, too.
Okay.
Something that's hard and stiff will... back to the chefing. Something that's hard and stiff.
But it doesn't get biased.
Don't worry, they're all laughing over here, Fred.
Yeah. Something that'll hold the mill steady, and you'll need to cut a slot in it to let the grain either go in or go out, depending on whether you want to have the mill on the top of the base or have the mill on the bottom of the base.
Okay.
And if you look at it, the top of it's threaded. That's where the bolts are screwed into the top of the mill. And the bottom is threaded also, so you can mount it on, above the base, or you can mount it below.
Okay.
I kind of like to mount it below the base. I know a lot of people don't do that, but to me, it solves a lot of issues, because then you don't have to come up with something separate to hold the hopper on the top.
Well,
basically use the base to hold the hopper.
You're a traditionalist, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like to keep it simple, stupid, plan. Keep it easy. Don't try to outthink it.
Yeah.
You can take a piece of plywood, cut a slot in it, and drill some mounting holes, and then build yourself any kind of funnel. You could go buy a metal funnel or a plastic funnel, or you could also make something out of something like masonite, or you could even use cardboard if you wanted to.
Okay.
It's real simple if you start looking at it to come up with something to make it all work.
I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's just a grain delivery system of some sort.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have something. You got to come up with an idea for how to get the grain in there, and then basically put a bucket under it and catch it.
See, if I was any good at building things, I would actually like that, because you can design it exactly how you want it and what fits best for you.
Exactly right.
But what I would do is buy this and then go give it to Doc.
Exactly right.
And then Doc would build the...
And you go, yeah, I could do that.
Bevo, do you prefer it below the base or above the base?
Okay, why did I just get asked the same question in the chat room?
Because they're smart in the chat room, that's why.
I'm not answering that.
Well, and I will,
She didn't say no.
I will buffer my hopper question by saying I asked Colin, and I think Jamil was around at the same time. I asked them the same question: why is there no hopper? And they all said, "Well, that's just kind of that's a thing. It's not difficult to build a hopper, and a lot of people want to build their own." So, but like I said, I've never bought a mill, and I just kind of expected it to be there. So.
Yeah, well, the plans are and always have been for us to have a base and a hopper. I was actually talking to one of my buds in my homebrew club last night about building bases. We had our meeting last night, and he has like a whole wood shop in his basement, and he's got a really nice table saw. And I'm like, hey, you need to saw up some bases for me. So we plan to offer bases, and as soon as I can find somebody that can fabricate, sheet metal, I plan on having a hopper as well. So it's, it kind of boils down to money and time, just like everything. I have a family and a daytime job and all that. So as soon as I can, design up the hopper and find somebody to build it for, something that people are willing to pay, then I will have that as well. And then we'll start, competing with the Barley Crusher guys better.
Well, Fred, it sounds like your family and job are holding you back.
Well,
yeah, I think you need to cut some dead weight, Fred.
Yeah, come on, Fred. Let's give it the program.
No, I can't do that. I'll tell you, it's a lot of time as it is, just running the whole thing on the side. So
Understood.
I can't do that. So no, it's coming. It's just patience, and it will happen. I mean, I've done the CAD work and all. I just need to get off my lazy ass and find somebody to build the thing. So
it's not easy. Time is the commodity that most of us don't have. So I commend you on the work you've done so far. It's really a nice looking mill. I have a kind of a last question. The sides of it, are those aluminum or stainless steel? Also, the actual side plates.
The side plates are aluminum. They're 6061 aluminum.
Okay.
The knobs, those are made out of 303 stainless, just like our upgraded rollers. And the rollers are either 1144 or 303, depending on whether you upgrade to stainless or not. So,
okay. And the listener questions I had, just so you know, were about whether or not they were asking if they could upgrade to aluminum sides, but it looks to me like they're aluminum anyway, like you're just answering.
Yeah, the sides are aluminum. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were asking about hoppers and all that, too, if you're going to add those on, and it sounds like you will be as soon as you can. So,
well, if you do some Googling, or you get out on the brew board or something like that, or the different forums related to beer, there's been a lot of guys who've posted photos and some great ideas. You can get as hog wild as you want. I mean, I've seen ones that were stained and, had plexiglass sides and, I mean, it's crazy.
Shaped
you can go,
like vaginas.
There's one made out of like an interstate highway sign. It was freaking awesome.
Really?
It's like New Mexico.
That sounds illegal.
Interstate sign. This is great.
Let's bust them.
Well, we've got the new BN Army gadget section on thebrewingnetwork.com, and if you don't already have a hopper built in your own grain mill, maybe the person who's going to win this in the raffle tonight and has to build a hopper for it could post pictures and a write-up of the hopper that they built. I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
That'd be fantastic.
You can go, of course, to monsterbrewinghardware.com and check out the exact products that we're talking about. We're giving away a 3-roller mill tonight. It's a $241 mill, and it's got the stainless steel upgrade and the shaft upgrade just for Bevo, I'm told.
Shaft!
And we'll be giving that away tonight. It's a $5 per raffle ticket. Just hit the donate button on our donate page. So if you donate $20, we'll enter your name 4 times. 5 if I'm the one doing the adding. So hope
2 if Chad is.
And you can do that all the way up until 7:30, and that's because Fred Francis was generous enough to donate one of his products to us to give to you, and had the fabulous idea that we donate that we raffle it and make a little bit of money for the BN, and I really appreciate that again, Fred.
Not a problem. I'm glad to do it for sure.
Last couple questions from the chat here were actually about storing grain, which I think we should do while Fred's still on the phone, because it's one of the reasons we talked about why you should own your own mill. So people asked, hey, what's the best way to store uncrushed grains? And JP, Tasty, any of you guys, Fred, that do that, if you want to talk about the way you store it and good ways to keep it last a while, go ahead.
Well, all I can say is whatever you use, you better make it airtight. I had a bag of Durst Pilsner malt that sat in my kitchen one time, and it was open. I hadn't used it all yet, and it came down with a bad case of the grain bugs.
Oh yeah.
And I had grain bugs. Oh God, I had grain bugs in my bathroom. I had grain bugs in the kitchen.
Ooh.
I had grain bugs in the living room. I had them everywhere. And every time the wife saw one, it was like, curse you and your grain, So
are those just little black bugs?
The little weevils, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
nasty.
nasty.
They're horrible. We brewed with it anyway.
Yeah, it's,
That was the
And we
Bug-Eye
drank
Pilsner.
that shit.
They didn't eat too much of that starch.
Yeah.
it'll get you drunk.
And but no, there's I've seen on the forums there's guys that have these like pails that have like a screw-on lid that they use to keep like dry chemicals in them. You can get those if you want to keep a lot of grain. You can get like a plastic 55 gallon drums and stuff like that. Whatever you find, it needs to have an airtight lid on it. That's the biggest thing. And if you're really anal, you can purge it with I guess with CO2 or something like that. To keep it even longer if you don't get in it very often. But yeah, it needs to be airtight just to keep the bugs in if you have any. Because all grain has bugs in it.
Yep.
It's just whether they're alive or not. So.
Exactly, and yeah, if you're not going to go through 50 pounds of malt in 6 months or a year, don't get it.
Really?
Yeah.
That was another question, was kind of the shelf life of it, and you're saying 6 months.
Because, like Fred's saying, all grain pretty much inherently has these little weevils in them. The eggs, I think, I'm not really all that clear how it goes, but we've had them at More Beer several times.
Okay.
And it's just because we'll get a shipment in and we'll be packaging it up, and it'll be on the shelf, and a week later we'll have these. And it's like, what? So obviously, who we were getting from wasn't turning around enough, and it just is kind of...
It's like beer crabs.
It is like beer crabs. You don't know you have it, and then suddenly, you got to make that phone call, like, hey, look, I'm sorry, but you might want to check downstairs.
Well, it sounds like I, too, have made bug beer. Yeah.
Is that right?
I didn't know after that story. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You'll know it, because
I thought it was a tannin issue, but it must be
beer crabs.
The legs must be like that. Like that.
I mean, you look at the thing, you'll see it. We haven't had it in 6 years, 7 years, because we just turn around so much. But we've had it a couple times. It just happens. I mean, even the maltsters get it. It happens.
You would say, 6 months ish is a turnaround time for us.
Yeah, I would say just from freshness, but I don't know at what point the weevils start coming, if they will at all.
Okay.
I'm unsure about that, but
anytime,
yeah.
I see. And that's the sealing, so it needs to be as airtight as possible, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Base malts.
Yeah, they suck to get rid of. I had them at my house.
You did?
Not in beer, but just in flour.
Crabs or weevils?
Not crabs.
I don't know. You don't know where Sam's been.
Yes, I do.
With Terrence.
They'll get in your cornflakes. They'll get in your sugar. They'll get in your cornmeal. They'll get in everything in your cabinet, your food cabinet,
underwear drawer.
Everything.
Get in the gap.
Yeah, they'll get in everything.
Clog your gap.
Okay, I do have to we got Gordon Strong lined up. I've got a last question for you from the listeners. It's a question I expected. Never mind that you're giving away a mill. We, us homebrewers, are always looking for a bargain. So the question that came through from the
AKA
listeners...
cheap ass.
Yeah, you can say it, Bevo. I say bargain. Someone asked in the chat room, hey, if we don't win the raffle tonight, is there a BN discount on any of the mills? I'm sorry, I have to ask you. It's in my chat room.
Oh, man.
I don't think anyone's going to hold it against you if you say, no, I gave you fuckers a mill.
Yeah, screw you guys. I gave you a mill.
We understand.
But I have to ask.
In my defense, margins on mills are almost none.
Okay.
That's why I can't sell to dealers hardly, because that's why B3 or more, people aren't interested in them, because
their margins even smaller.
There's not enough room for a middle guy, so the margins are tight.
Okay.
But if one of the things you can do, if you and a buddy want to get a mill and you live close together, you can order 2 at a time and save on shipping. Or if now I've done stuff for clubs. If you've got 10 or 15 guys that can take a bulk order, I'll cut you a deal. Just shoot me an email and we can talk about it.
Okay.
But, I have to make it up on volume if I give a discount. So
sure.
If you got a brew club that wants to do it, shoot me an email, or you can always do 2 at a time and send them to one address and save the shipping and stuff. So that's an easy way to do it.
That's fair enough to me. You can go to monsterbrewinghardware.com and check these out. Fred, you want to give out your email, or can they just find it on the website?
Yeah, there's links on the mail. There on the page. There's also a contact form you could fill out. Send the that will email directly to me. But my email address is info@monsterbrewinghardware.com.
There you go.
And that'll go directly to me.
Okay, and I just want to thank you again for coming on the show and talking about it. We've actually never done a mill topic, so I appreciate that. And really donating the mill above and beyond, I do appreciate that. And I think that some listener today is going to be very happy when they find out they've got their own monster mill. It's high-quality stuff. I can tell, even though I don't know what I'm talking about, that it's high-quality stuff. JP does know what he's talking about, and you like this thing.
Yeah, I do.
So you can donate between now and 7:30. It's $5 in entry. So just hit the donate button on our homepage. There's a one-time donation thing. And we'll be raffling it off at the end of the program. Fred Francis, thank you very much for coming on the show with us.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, can I give a shout-out to my buddies in the South Atlanta homebrewers? They said, give us a shout-out and say, tell everybody that Doc's a dick.
I wish Doc was here for that.
I wouldn't say that, but that's what they told me to say. So,
no, we would say it.
You can't say that.
Yeah, take it back. Yeah. I'll relay the message. I see Doc in the morning, and I'll even say it's from me. How about that? Yeah. And from your homebrewers in the South.
It's all good, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on. It was great.
No worries, brother. And I appreciate the donation because it will help the BN out a lot, and that means a lot to me. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Fred Francis, everybody. Thanks, Fred. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Okay, you can go to monsterbrewinghardware.com and check out what we're talking about. We've got the 3-roller mill here. You can thank Fred for donating that to you, and in that sense, donating it to us, because he didn't ask for any of the revenue or any of the profits. He just said, I hope you guys can do well. It was his idea, and you can thank Shat for being the middleman.
Oh.
He likes to be in the middle.
As usual.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
It's a little Shat sandwich with the mill here.
Yeah.
I think Sam's getting laid tonight. All this shaft talk.
All the shaft and gap.
and mounting and all that.
Bevo over there, she was liking that interview.
Yeah.
Don't be so sure.
Oh, I think Terrence is getting laid tonight with all the shaft talk.
Oh, snap. All right, a quick break. When we come back, Gordon Strong. The fun just keeps going. Gordon Strong, he's the director of the BJCP. He's also Mr. Ninkasi 2008. So if you've got questions about good beer or beer style guidelines, he's the guy to ask. And he's on the show with us when we come back. MonsterBrewingHardware.com, everybody. Send your donations. You got till 7:30, and we're going to be raffling off this mill tonight before the show's over. Hang in there. Be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
This August, every member of the Brewing Network Army will brew strong. In 2005, the Brewing Network brought you the first live 3-hour-long beer radio show, all about home brewing. In 2006, the Brewing Network brought you The Jamil Show and changed the face of home brewing competitions forever. This year, the Brewing Network will change homebrewing again. Homebrewing experts Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer team up to bring you the ultimate live homebrewing radio show, Brew Strong. Stay tuned.
What's good for the earth, good for your body, and great for your brew? Organic ingredients. This October, the organic ingredient experts, Seven Bridges Co-op in awesome Santa Cruz, California, hosts the 2nd annual Organic Homebrew Challenge.
All ingredients must be organic.
Entries will be accepted September 1st through October 10th. Judging October 19th will be followed by an Organic Oktoberfest for all participants, customers, and guests at Gordon Biersch Brewery and Restaurant in downtown San Jose, including a specially brewed Gordon Biersch Organic Beer. For more information, contest rules, and guidelines, visit breworganic.com/competition. And if you're looking for organic ingredients, Seven Bridges offers a huge selection of USDA certified kits and raw ingredients, from 8 ounces to 50-pound sacks of grain, whole and pellet hops, and all the equipment you'll need. Seven Bridges, the organic homebrew experts since 1997. Visit www.breworganic.com and enter the 2008 Organic Homebrew Challenge.
Did you know that every day a brewcaster goes to bed hungry? Did you know that that brewcaster is silently calling for the help of people just like you? Do you know that every day the unicorn and the rainbow have to blow sailors for loose change? For less than the cost of a half-calf, quad-shot, venti, extra-hot soy milk, triple-pump, hazel, low-fat foam, double-cupped macchiato a day, you can help starving adults in Pacheco. Your love can be felt for as little as 7 cents a day. Visit thebrewingnetwork.com/donate to sign up today for as little as $2 a month. Private first class in the BN Army. Buy your way up the ranks as corporal, sergeant, ranger, or colonel with an easy-to-do monthly donation that keeps brewcasters alive and your favorite internet radio station broadcasting. No donation is too small to help those in need. Can't you find it in your heart to share your love with a brewcaster? In return, you will enjoy the wealth of knowledge that comes with every episode of the session, The Jameel Show, and yes, even that other show. Thank you for listening, and please sign up for your donation at thebrewingnetwork.com/donate today.
White Labs is a leader in pure yeast and fermentation services, serving the beer, wine, and distilling industries from worldwide producers for more than a decade. White Labs has 3 all-new vials for you to pitch this year, home brewers, so fire up your kettles, fill up your fermenters, and get ready for Cry Havoc, the signature yeast strain from Charlie Papazian. This yeast can ferment both ales and lagers and is great for bottle conditioning too. Second, a cream ale blend of ale and lager yeast strains. This blend creates a clean, crisp, light American lager-style ale. Last, a Belgian-style Saison ale yeast blend. This blend melds Belgian-style ale yeast and Saison strains to create complex, fruity aromas and flavors. Get complete fermentation quickly with this blend's spicy, earthy, and clove-like flavors. White Labs, your brewing partner for great yeast. These new strains are available now for home brewers, breweries, and homebrew shops everywhere. White Labs, it's all in the vial.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. It's The Session, live from Pacheco.
Picho.
Never thought you'd hear that in show business, did you?
Live! with such enthusiasm. And
I hope that if ever, anybody listens to the program on a large scale, like larger than now, you know what I'm saying, like mainstream.
Not like weight,
large
but
shaft.
like population.
I hope that we're still in Pacheco. Like, I hope that some major network or satellite company or something has to be like, syndicated live from Pacheco.
Yeah. We'd have homes like somewhere cool, like Portland, and fly down
just to do it in Pacheco.
Just to do the show.
I think it's our thing. It's our hood.
This is our hood. It's a lot of other people's hood too. Let me tell you, I gotta put those.
It's just 100 feet off High Street.
That's right. And he's not lying. We are. I don't know why we've never mentioned that High Street is our. We're on the corner.
Street.
We're on the corner of High and then the street that we're on, which we don't have to give away. I mean, give it all away.
Right down the street from Flame Drive.
William might come over and kill us one day. You never know. You don't know what's happening. All right, you can hit the donate button. $5 a raffle ticket. MonsterBrewingHardware.com just gave away a Monster Mill. It's a 3-roller stainless steel big shaft upgraded mill. And for $5 a raffle ticket, you can get a chance to win it. We're giving it away on tonight's program.
Yeah, get a couple tight gaps in your life.
This thing's sweet, man.
It's an adjustable gap. I mean, some of you have to pay surgeons lots and lots of money in the aftermath to get that gap back to where you want it.
Yep, that's true.
This gap, turn a couple screws.
You dial it in.
Done.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but
don't.
I
didn't
don't
think you
really
were
want
listening.
to.
But you're pretty sure it's jacked up.
I'm sure it's bad, but I don't know.
It's all about peace and love and energy. It's fine.
Yeah.
And
So
top
it's-
end, bottom
it's
up.
good.
I don't really want to know. I like
All
those
right.
things that I don't know.
On the program with us right now, Mr. Ninkasi 2008. Gordon Strong. I've been wanting to talk to the guy for quite a while. He's a good dude and apparently a hell of a brewer. He's the president of the BJCP. Gordon, what's happening?
How you doing, Justin?
I'm
doing great.
I'm doing good. I got some Tool lined up for you, man.
Yeah, Gordon has his own theme music.
I was going to say that.
What is this?
Yeah, no, I got some Tool lined up for you.
Oh, very nice.
Good thinking.
See, now
Yeah,
I feel...
the guys in the chat room wouldn't let me have it. Let you get one in on me first.
No.
Gordon, I actually feel uncomfortable about that. You're going to be hearing from my attorney.
I personally think that was amazing.
Yeah, there's still room for one and more in the backyard.
I really just want to. Tool rocks. I just kind of want to rock out for a second.
Yeah, it takes a while for it.
If you don't know this tune, it's Sober by Tool.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not actually playing it on the program, but since we're playing it, download it. It's a good album. You're not a Tool fan, JP?
No.
That's because you're a sissy boy. What? It doesn't talk about, like, I don't know, stupid things enough for you? I've listened to your Ween and everything else. You like it.
Well, I like some hard things, that talks about life the way it is on the streets. I don't know. I just never got into Tool. I didn't like the guy's voice, and it was just too.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really like it.
No, they put on a really good show.
Well, you've got to go listen to Prison Sex then.
Yeah, that's another good one. Tasty, you've been to a Tool show?
Oh, yeah, several of them. Oh, yeah.
You're kidding me.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Tasty
in
rocks.
town, yeah.
You're so cool, Tasty.
Isn't he? Look at these guys. Gordon and Tasty, big Tool heads.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, Gordon, I got to meet you in Cincinnati this year and was happy to do so finally. We've known about you. And
I actually bumped into you in Denver.
I was drunk then. That doesn't
Jamil introduced me. No, so was I.
Oh.
I was the guy with the cane.
Oh, really? I do remember that, yeah. Actually, now I do remember. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Don't say bourbon or barrel, okay?
I was just going to ask about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, it was a brewing injury.
Read all about it in Zymergy.
You know what? My hungover clarity is coming back. Now I do remember this story and meeting you and Jamil introducing you that way, too.
Yeah, flaming bungholes are bad for you.
Flaming
Stay away.
Yeah,
they are.
Usually a shower takes care of that, but this is something else.
Or some ointment.
That's a whole other thing. Hey, congratulations on your Ninkasi.
Well, thanks a lot, man. It was a real surprise. It was a 5-way tie this year, so a lot of people were bringing it.
Yeah, that I actually thought was amazing. I don't know if that's ever happened before. Do you know, Gordon?
No,
never.
No. I think there might have been a tie between two people before.
Okay,
but never 5.
A 5-way tie.
The total points that won Ninkasi this year was the lowest it's been in a while.
I see.
Because Jamil usually goes up there looking like Michael Phelps. So
yeah, true.
So
hot.
Two golds was what I got, but like Joe Formanek got 3 silvers, and Kurt and Kathy Stock had 4 medals. So I mean, there was some good competition there.
There sure was.
Yeah, the usual suspects were kind of low, I think, right?
Well, Formanek's got 2 Ninkasis just like Jamil, so you can never count him out. And Kurt and Kathy are a mead maker of the year a couple of years back.
Right.
That's right.
And Jeff Carlson was in there, who's a cider maker of the year several times.
See,
so it was serious competition.
There really was, and this is why I like to talk to guys like you, Gordon, on the program, because, and we've mentioned this before, there's a reason that those guys are there time and time again. Jamil and other guys will talk about the luck that's involved, and I think everybody can agree with that, but there is obviously an amount of skill that is involved in certain techniques that you guys all have down to be there year in and year out. And by the way, Gordon, it sounded like you said, I only got 2 golds. 2 golds in the NHC. Come on, that's pretty impressive.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I meant in comparison with what has won Ninkasi before.
I see.
I'm thrilled to get these. Last year I got 1 silver and was happy to get that. So,
what happened? So the 5-way tie, and then what did they do to decide who got it?
Yeah, so I didn't even know the rules. I was sort of joking. It was whoever wrote Charlie the biggest check. And,
yeah.
And, it was probably pretty close because it was whoever got the most number of points from the first round was the tiebreaker. So I don't know what the other people did, but I sent 7 beers and 3 meads on from the first round.
Okay.
And
that's a decent check.
Yeah, that is a decent check, and a lot of points.
Yeah.
So you end up. Is this your first Ninkasi, Gordon?
Oh yeah, I've only entered the nationals the last 2 years.
Oh,
I've been judging it like forever, but I never really entered.
Okay.
So,
you put your money where your mouth was, and you won.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, well, people start throwing down, so you gotta stand your ground.
You got to get some street cred.
You got to bring it.
Yeah, there you go.
I like how we're talking street with Gordon Strong right now.
Hey.
They were all fronting up in my shit, and I'm like, bitch, step off, pump your brakes, slow your roll. And I won. It was great.
Yeah, right.
Where's
I mean, all I
Terrence
can
when you
think
need
of
him?
is right. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Shat, you hear that? 2 years he's been entering and got his Ninkasi. So listen.
Next year's my year.
Listen, buddy, you're coming up here. If not, you're out.
All right.
I want to see Ninkasi out of you soon.
Well, that also means...
I've been brewing for like 12, 13 years, though. So.
Well, that also means his first year he won. You said you won a silver, right, Gordon? So your first year, you get stuff go through and you win.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
That's just great.
yeah. I mean, the deal was I hate to ship my beer because your beer goes downhill every time you put it in a hot truck and drive it across the country. So that's one reason I never entered. And people, like I said, people were throwing down, and so I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. And but for first and second round, both last year and this year, I drove my beers.
Okay,
and I think that probably has. You like that? So. Yeah, I mean, they drove from Ohio to Denver last year with them.
Did you really? That's
actually funny story. The one of my golds this year was this Colonial Stock Ale thing. I took my only keg of that to Denver last year and served it at club night. You slackers didn't drink it, so I dragged it back to Ohio and entered it this year, and it won.
Oh, good. Thanks to the slackers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much beer at those events that it's hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what you get for bringing a full keg.
Yeah, you don't need much of any one thing.
Gordon, will you be coming to our hood for NHC 2009?
I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. And are you going to enter?
Going to defend?
You got to defend.
Oh, probably.
Sure.
And are you going to drive?
I might not enter as many, but
you're not going to drive from Ohio, though.
How long did it take you to drive to Denver? Is that like 2 days?
Yeah, it can be done in less than 2 days if you're mild.
Don't sleep.
If you're mild.
It's 16 hours straight.
It's six. Yeah, it's about that's about right. About 16 hours.
Yeah,
straight.
My brother drove.
It was like 19 hours for me to get out there, so I'm thinking no.
Yeah, that's a long, long drive. Yeah, ship your beer. Just overnight it. Save up your dough.
Yeah.
You know. Well, good. And then
charge it to Jamil's gold card.
There you go. He's got to have one of those,
that
right?
thing's black by now.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing has a black card.
Really? No. Come on. We don't
know.
Stealth.
We don't know anybody with a black card,
No.
JP. We don't mingle with those people.
You have to spend $250,000 a year.
Good Lord.
To get a black
on
card.
shipping beer.
Yeah, on shipping beer.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone could do it, Jamil would.
Yeah.
Tasty has a green card.
Yeah, very green.
Yeah.
Well, that's lucky because some guys were looking for him, I heard.
Yeah, probably. And the other half of that, are you coming to NHC question from the listener is, since you're coming out here for the NHC, will you be coming to the Brewing Network 4th anniversary party, which is the same week?
It's the same week?
Yeah, we're doing it the same week.
Dude, I'm there.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I think, because you're a BJ, well, we're going to talk about this, but you organized the competition as well in Ohio, didn't you?
Yeah, I was the second round organizer and judge director both.
Okay. So I'm sure that your assistance will be required earlier in the week out here, and I think we're doing, don't quote me on this, listeners, but it sounds like we're doing a Tuesday night anniversary party out here. So, Gordon, you might be out here a couple days earlier.
Oh, that'll
right?
be sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get some extra time.
There we go. Very nice. We're going to do that. So one of the things, just a couple of credentials about Gordon here, in case you guys don't know who he is. He's the president of the Beer Judge Certification Program, so it has a lot to do with those style guidelines that Jamil talks about every other week on his show, and that we talk about on here. He revised and updated the style guidelines last year. We're going to talk about that with him. Technical editor of a couple of our favorite books, one of them we mention a lot around here, Wild Brews and Radical Brewing. Dr. Scott's favorite book, Gordon, I don't know if you know, is Radical Brewing. He loves that book. No, I'm sorry. He does love Radical Brewing. Designing Great Beers, actually, is his favorite one. I'm mixing that up. But he loves Radical Brewing. Wild Brews is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
Not because I brewed any of them yet. I've been too lazy. But I do love the book.
It's just a well-written book.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a technical editor of that?
Well, that means the author sends you the manuscript when it's in draft form, and you have to go. They make any sort of technical claim, and you have to go see if they're right or not.
Okay.
So it's checking. It's imagine if, like what you guys do on the show. I mean, if somebody came in and said, "I wrote this book, let me tell you about it," and everybody starts ragging on your ass about, like, "No, you got this wrong. You got this wrong. Fix this." That's pretty much what it's like.
I see. So it's like every day of my life. Is what
There you go.
Yeah.
It's all do-overs.
Yeah, it's all do-overs.
My life is full of mulligans.
Fix this. Of course, Gordon is a member of the St. Paul Homebrewers Club, which...
and the president of the St. Paul.
Prez.
Yeah,
Really?
give him his due title, man.
Shit.
Yeah.
2008
Bitches elected me last year, so
did they? 2008 Homebrew Club of the Year, the St. Paul Homebrewers Club. A little congratulations to Gordon and his club for that.
They defended.
Was that a 2 year in a row?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Then you were the club to unseat Quaff from their reign of terror. That I don't even know how long that went on for.
Oh, I think they had it for something like 7 years. Mm-hmm. They had a strong run. I mean, I think they won it the first year it was in L.A., which was 2001.
Right.
Okay.
So 2001 through 2006.
Gotcha. And then you guys won it in 2007.
Yep.
Not bad.
So, Gordon, what was St. Paul doing all that time that Quaff was number one? What did you guys What did you guys do? Have like a divine inspiration of some sort, or
training and recruiting?
Well, if you went back and looked at it, sort of moved up the ranks every year. That's sort of how I got into it. I think it was in Baltimore. I think they came in fourth at the time. I wasn't a member of the club then, but I was hanging out with those guys at the Nationals.
Right.
And they said, "Hey, if you want to sit here at our table and drink our mead, you better join the club." And then that became you better enter.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Then it became you better medal.
Right.
That's good. Well, I bet they're glad to have you.
Well, I am seeing a pattern, aren't we, here? So Gordon starts entering 2 years ago, and that's when St. Paul starts winning. You put them over the top.
You were the ringer.
You look at the number of people. You look at the number of people in that club that got medals, particularly in the second round.
Oh yeah,
it was like something like 10 people got medals in the second round. I was stunned.
Well, I'm not saying that you did it single-handedly, but it seems to me that you were sort of the weight that just pushed the roller coaster over the hill. You see?
No, actually, both years. If I hadn't entered at all, they still would have won.
Oh, is that right?
So I don't want to imply that at all.
I'd lie about that if I were you.
I don't need to look.
Your PR manager won't like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't need to pay for it, and I don't need to lie about it.
I see. We can't all be Gordon, okay?
Yeah, no, that's true. Some of us have to pay for everything.
Yeah, I think Justin needs more than you're thinking of.
Exactly.
Well, you live in California, I live in Ohio, so there you go.
That's a good point. All right, I do have some questions for you, and I want you, if you can, be as specific as possible, all right? Because I think that there are a few things that a brewer does that's able to win something like Ninkasi, that's able to make enough beers that place well enough to win an award. There are some things in your process that you're probably very consistent with, that you probably pay a lot of attention to, and that maybe you could attribute to your success in terms of winning medals. And that's the kind of stuff our listeners really want to hear about, even if it's just the tiniest of things that you can think of. I think that award-winning brewers like you have a few tricks up their sleeve, and that's what we like to hear.
Yeah, and it's the kind of things Jamil often talks about. I mean, you brew to style, you brew clean. There are a lot of people that make really good beers, so there is a luck element. I mean, yeah, you have to be sort of in the crowd that can make consistent world-class beers, but beyond that, winning the medals becomes somewhat of a crapshoot. So, I mean, I'd say know your system, understand how all the materials that go in, all the process tweaks you use, how that affects the final beer. But you have to sort of visualize the end result before you start. Sort of golfers talk about that. You sort of see the shot.
Yeah.
You have to have that final style in mind.
Okay.
And you build your recipe there, and you control every part of your process. I'm sort of like the anti-Charlie Papazian. It's like you don't relax and don't worry and have a home brew. I mean, that's how you make beer, but that's not how you win medals.
Get freaking focused.
Okay.
Yeah, focus. I mean, everything you do, pay attention. Don't screw it up. Do it right. Do it the way you know how to do it. Don't cut corners. And, a lot of people make really good beers. So, you make a good beer, but then you have to get it to the competition. And, that's where I really try to focus. I keg my beer. A lot of my meads I keep in carboys around forever. Because I don't like committing them to a bottle when, they might still get adjusted.
Okay.
So, if you have a lot of beers and you brew different batches, you can blend. So taste your beer before you send it in. And if it's not, look at the style guidelines and think about how a judge is going to review your beer. I mean, I think that's really what I think about. If I didn't know what this is and somebody parked it in front of me and said, judge it as this, what would I think?
Yeah.
And, I'm sort of assuming that if you're considering entering it, you don't have technical faults. So, I mean, let's factor that out. So it all comes down to how well does it nail the style. So think about what a judge, and here's where being a judge really helps. I mean, think about what the judge is really going to look for, and then try to adjust your beer so that it winds up that way. I mean, it's great if you can do that, like, straight out of the chute and brew it that way, but sometimes you got to tweak it a little as you go along, and, there's no shame in that. The two beers of mine that won golds, went in as is, but some of the ones that won in the first round were certainly blended and tweaked.
And, of course, if you're not a kegging brewer, then you don't have that option so much.
No, but, that's all part of learning your process.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And that actually, I want to know a little bit more about your system and your process. What do you brew on? How much are you brewing? Things like that.
Yeah, I've got a half barrel 3-vessel system from Pico Brewing in Ypsilanti, Michigan. They, it's 3 kegs and it has 2 pumps.
Okay.
So you got the idea.
Yeah, yeah. Is it on a stand? Just out of curiosity, so we can geek out.
No, I mean they're on 3 burners, and
okay.
They're all on the same level. But I use the pumps to move things around, so I don't have to lift things up high.
Great.
So they're 3 in a row, and so that's pretty much what I use, and I've been using that for 8 years maybe.
Okay. And you ferment in carboys, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Be fermenting in my shiny new More Beer Conical.
Oh, that's right. What they always give one away for Ninkasi. What did you get?
Got the 7-gallon Conical.
Okay.
So
you can do half of your batch in it.
Well, I usually make 5-gallon batches. Even on the 15-gallon system.
There you go. Great.
Because I like the variety.
Okay.
I mean, if I was brewing for quantity, sure.
Yeah.
If I've party or something going on, but usually I like having the variety of styles.
How often do you brew?
Oh, it depends on the season. I mean, last week we had a break in the weather here. It was in the upper 70s, so I brewed like 4 times.
Oh wow!
So I was all over it.
Wow, that's
making a lot of meat. So I probably brew about as much as I judge, maybe 15, 18, 20 times a year.
Okay, that's a lot of brewing.
It's a lot of judging.
And a lot of judging. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well.
How long have you been a BJCP judge?
11 years.
11 years. Okay. What's your rank?
Took the exam in '97 at the conference.
Oh, you did? Okay. What is your BJCP rank?
I am a Grandmaster 5.
One of these guys with the big furry hat.
There's no 6, is there?
Yeah.
Is there?
Well, it's like black belt. They just keep adding them on the end.
You do. I see. I mean, that's it. You're like the top of the rung.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody that's a master judge has the same sort of basic skill. They got the same test score. I mean, the Grandmasters just means that I continue to do work for the BJCP, and I go to a lot of competitions.
Okay.
It doesn't mean I got a higher score or anything like that. So.
All right. This may be a dumb question, but, I'm good at that anyway. So you've been doing it for 11 years. Do you still enjoy judging? I mean, is it still new to you when you do it? You get to taste good things that you haven't tried before?
Yeah, especially, if you get to judge in the second round, which was, the shame in having to organize this year is I didn't get to judge. It's the first time in I don't know how long I didn't get to judge in the second round. But, I mean, there's some awesome beers there. And if you really want good ideas in the second round, you need to judge like one of the specialty categories, because people there have some really good ideas, and all the sort of bad ideas have been kicked out. So the ones that get sent on really work.
Okay. That makes
sense. So that's a lot of fun if you're a judge.
Yeah, I think that actually would be fun, getting to try some of these unique things. Do you think that you have... and I got to take a break first before we get really into it, but we are going to talk about the BJCP guidelines and how that you help revise and update those guidelines. Do you feel that gives you kind of an advantage? I mean, you're talking about how you, and I don't mean an unfair advantage, I'm not implying anything, but one thing you talked about was, hey, when you're making a beer for competition, you should think about how it's going to be judged, and you should think about how it's going to be judged as a style. Well, it sounds to me like you more than anybody know about those styles, having written them.
Yeah, but it's not like you need a secret handshake or anything. You go to www.bjcp.org and download a copy. So, I mean, anybody can read them. I mean, I'm looking at them from the eyes of your average judge.
Right.
I'm not the one who's judging them.
No, and I agree. I just think
people in the chat room are judging them.
I almost think it's more of an example of that an intimate relationship with those guidelines helps you win competitions because you obviously know those guidelines inside.
I bet Jamil would tell you the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he would too.
If you look at it closely and actually understand, if you read them, that's one thing. But if you understand what the guidelines mean in the context of being a judge, I do think that helps you. So if you want to be a better brewer, you ought to be a judge.
Yeah.
Go judge other people's beer. Don't just judge your own beer. Get out. The more you can get out of your local habit, get out of your, drinking your beers, your club's beers, your area's beers, go around to different regions, try other people's beers, shake it up. Try different things.
What about beers that you brew for yourself? It's for you to have and enjoy around the house. Do you worry about style guidelines then? Do you reference them then? Or do you just kind of go crazy?
Well, I mean, there's some oddball beers that I make for, sort of festival kind of things that I go to. I make this, actually the recipe's in Radical Brewing. It's the chai tea brown ale thing that I make.
All right.
I don't really like entering that in competition because it's just sort of a fun beer.
Okay.
But, Randy's Radical Brewing book, I read that book when I was editing it, and I sent him the recipe because I said, you talked about, like, have an idea for your beer, and I had like a Panera chai latte one day, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. That'd be really good as a beer.
Yeah.
So, went and just started messing with it, and, so that's sort of a fun thing, but, not everybody sort of gets that.
Right.
But when I brew, I mean, you do something, do it right. So, if I'm going to take the time to spend, 4 or 5 hours brewing, I'm going to be brewing to style.
Okay. Yeah, see, with me... I really like the style guidelines. I like classic beers. I like tradition, so I enjoy that. But I think if I knew more about designing recipes and things like that, I'd be doing some crazy beers. But sort of building up that resume for myself, the resume in my brain that gets me to know the ingredients, I'm sticking to the styles all the time.
But you got to respect the fundamentals. I mean, that's there's all sorts of sports analogies about that. But sort of my favorite one is sort of the guitar analogy is, somebody picks up a guitar and the first thing they want to do is say, like, I want to play the solo to "Sweet Child of Mine."
Freebird.
If you don't know the chords to "Smoke on the Water," you can't play the solo to "Sweet Child of Mine." So first things first.
Yeah.
So before you run off and try to make the bourbon barrel imperial tea bag cranberry ice bock with 7 strains of Brett, maybe you ought to learn how to make an American pale ale first.
Yeah.
So, just to dial in your hardware,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, figure out how to brew, get the basics down before you start improvising.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise, how are you going to know what you're riffing on if if the fundamentals aren't sound?
Agreed. I entirely agree with you. And I think there's something to be said for, I mean, you said you've been brewing on your system that you have now for 8 years. And we upgrade our system all the time, just getting to somewhere we want to be. I have a feeling that we'll be with our current system for quite a while. But you know that. I mean, 8 years of brewing on it, you know exactly what you're going to get out of it every single time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you go back and you look at your recipes, too. I mean, you don't even have to stick it in ProMash or anything like that. Say, if I want a beer of this gravity, flip back through the recipes and said, okay, how many pounds do I need to get something of this gravity because I've brewed something like this before?
Yeah.
So.
Wow. What were your 2 gold medals that you got at NHC this year? What were those beers?
Yeah, they came at the end. So it was in the smoked category. I had a smoked Weizenbock.
Okay.
And in the specialty category, I had a Colonial Stock Ale with molasses and spruce tips.
Ah, interesting.
It was actually the Ben Franklin's Ale thing from Big Brew 2 years ago.
Right, I remember that. That was a big thing. Okay, wow. So
but,
both of
I took that idea and I changed it around because the original recipe didn't call for spruce. He talked about it in his article, but I thought that sounded cool, and I got some spruce trees in my backyard, so I just went for it.
That's a great idea. Did you feel those 2 were your strongest beers? Some people win with beers that they didn't think were strong.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had. I would have thought 2 of my meads would have done better than this. I had probably 4 or 5 beers that I thought were better than these.
Okay.
So I mean, you never know. I mean, that's the crapshoot part, and the only way to deal with that is either you enter the competition year after year and hope you get lucky on your one beer, or you enter a lot of beers and maybe you get a good combination of judges that see it the way you see it.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that you're entering old beers. In terms of, that's a lot of people. I got to brew for NHC this year. Well, maybe you already brewed for NHC this year.
You don't even know it.
I rebrewed some of the smaller beers, but the stock ale thing was like 8%, and the Weizenbock was sort of big. So I'm not going to rebrew those things and give somebody something really hot. That would just be nasty.
All right, it'd be like me giving them beer,
or you giving him something hot.
No, I mean that's the cool thing about kegging. I mean, you store your beer and you taste it over time, and you try to understand when your different brews are peaking.
Yeah.
And then that's sort of another sort of tip for first round at least, is to try to get your beers in that zone. When competition comes around, and plan your brewing out in advance. Like I can tell you, I'm making some meads right now with the eye for next year.
Okay. You got a plan. A lot of winners, Tasty here included, and of course Jamil, John Plissé, all of them plan. This whole
it was no accident that my IPA was 8 weeks old when it was judged in the first round.
Yeah,
that was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, I know some of you. John Plissé writes himself out a brew schedule.
Yeah, he's
for the year.
Go backwards on it,
and he knows what day he's got to get that brewed so that it's freshest or aged just enough, and all of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bigger range than just knowing that it has to be in a certain day. I mean, I tend to think about it like, I need to do something this month or this half month or something like that.
Right. That makes sense.
Smaller beers, I mean, you can whip out and it's not that bad. But the big ones, I had like an English barley wine in there that was like 7 years old.
Wow.
Like it medaled last year, it medaled this year, and didn't do any second round, but
it advanced. That's good.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. And see, that would be fun to me. I'm not that patient enough but we drink all our beer around here. But it would be interesting to me to see how a beer like that does from year to year, because we all know that it ages and it changes, and we talk about that. But to find out how the judges perceive that beer year after year, that would be fun to me. They say you did well last year, it did okay this year, it didn't make it the second round, but.
It's sort of hard to enter them enough times to really get the sort of statistically valid sample.
Yeah.
Because that's the tough thing about winning a medal at the NHC. I mean, basically you have to make it through 4 rounds of judging, and any asshat in any round can kick your beer for like no good reason.
Right.
So deal with it.
Yeah.
That's if you don't like those odds, like, don't play that game.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the lottery. It's like they print the odds on the ticket. If you choose to buy it after you know what the odds are, then that's up to you.
Yeah.
So same thing with the NHC. I mean, you have to understand how they're judged. I mean, you're going to go through 2 rounds, and you're going to have a mini BOS in each round. So that's rough. In the first round, they do it with 1 bottle. So
that's interesting, isn't it?
Rough.
Yeah, it is rough. Like, that's it. You get 1 shot.
But you taste the beers in the second round, and some good ones are they're getting passed on because the second round's a lot of fun.
Yeah. See, as much as we always promote
judges in your area, bring them out, take the test.
Yeah.
And we do that. Like, we always promote, become a judge. It'll help your brewing, and we also need judges. But I got to say, I only want to judge in the second round when all those beers are great.
Well, they all aren't, actually. I mean,
But they got to be pretty, I mean...
They're the better ones.
Right? I mean, right. Of all the competition... You've judged a few competitions, Tasty.
Sure.
It is a level up once you get to the second round.
Oh, yeah,
it?
for sure, yeah. I've tasted the second round beers, the extra ones that didn't make the best of show round. I mean, you could tell that they didn't travel that well, and I think Gordon mentioned that. Okay. He's not a big fan of shipping the beer, and I think it really does affect the home brew quite a bit.
I see.
In fact, in Cincinnati, I went and found... I didn't get any first, so I found all 3 of my beers, the last bottle, and the fruit beer was really... You could tell it went off or something. It was totally dried out.
That's really useful if you go to the second round. Is hunt down your beers,
see how it travels,
and try them and see. For the people that say, "Oh yeah, whatever, you can ship them, they'll be fine."
Yeah.
Like, no, really. I mean, like I said, I was the one receiving the beers, and some of those days it was like 95 when the UPS truck showed up.
I see.
And if it shows up in the middle of the afternoon, when do you think they loaded the truck that day?
Right.
Right.
6 a.m.
Right.
And it's it's in a big metal box in 95-degree sun all day.
Bounced around.
I don't know. I don't know what you call it in California, but I call that an oven.
Yeah, true.
We call it winter.
Yeah, in Pacheco, that's
nice.
Winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I do have to take a quick break. We are talking to Gordon Strong here. He is the Ninkasi winner 2008 right here. He won in Cincinnati this year, and just a nice dude all around. We're going to be talking about BJCP guidelines when we come back. Bevo, what do you got from the chat room there?
Can we play Stump the Ninkasi winner?
Oh!
I don't know if we're going to have time. If we have time, yes, we can.
Okay.
But we're already giving away a mill.
Stump.
I love him.
Yeah, he's good. He's listened to this program before.
Clearly.
Either that or he just fits in with us idiots.
Did my research.
I hope it's the first of the 2.
You've only got about 20 minutes left to enter to win yourself a Monster Brewing Hardware mill. It's the Monster Mill. You can go to monsterbrewinghardware.com and check it out. It's a 3-roller stainless steel upgraded shaft mill.
Big shaft.
It's a $250 mill, but for a $5 donation, you get a raffle ticket. If you put in $20, you get 4, etc., etc. It just depends on how many times you want your name in that hat. When we take our final break, which is not this one, but the one after, we will be drawing a name and figuring out who wins. So you got 20 more minutes to put in your donations. Just do that and chance to win a mill. Gordon Strong, Mr. Ninkasi 2008 is on the line with us. We're going to be talking about the BJCP guidelines when we come back. He's the president of the BJCP and helped update and revise the guidelines just last year. So get your questions to Bevo in the chat, hit the chat now button, or call 888-401-BEER. It's The Session. We'll be back.
Listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Oh, crap! It's the hop shortage!
No, not the organic free-range Oyster Russian Imperial Coffee Stout.
It's all gone. We'll never brew again.
Damn this hop shortage! Damn it to hell!
Oi! Away off your wee hop shortage.
Who are you?
A Scottish 80 shilling, and you cannot brew a Scottish 80 shilling like you was mixing cement with f***ing hops instead of gravel, you great f***ing ass.
Use less hops, brew more beer. Northern Brewer has kits and ingredients for dozens of worldwide beer styles that don't require a lot of hops to make a great pint, like the bloodthirsty and abusive Scottish 80 shilling. Keep drinking great beer. Order at northernbrewer.com and get flat rate $7.99 shipping anywhere in the contiguous U.S. 1 beer kit, $7.99 shipping. 1 million beer kits, $7.99 shipping.
Together we can beat this hop shortage.
My lambic!
It'll only f***ing help it.
Wait till you can pour it out of your own kegerator.
I mean, your friends will look at you with awe.
And it's just hot.
It is?
It's so super hot.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. Keeping the ass out of Brewcast. This is the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's The Session, and we're talking to Ninkasi 2008 winner Gordon Strong. He's also the president of the BJCP, which is what we're going to do with you right now. Gordon, you still with us?
I am here, Justin, ready to rock. I got my Surly Bender finished up and just poured myself a Westvleteren 12.
Oh, good
Lucky man.
choice, Gordon.
Hand carried from Belgium, bitches.
Wow.
Really?
Wow,
Playing
yeah.
the SmackDown.
Hand carried
Got us there.
yourself, or was it delivered to you?
No, I went over and got the damn thing myself.
Oh, wow.
That's how much street cred Gordon has. He mule.
You think I'm going to trust getting my Westvleteren to somebody else?
No.
He mules his own beer.
Wow. Some people go to jail for that. I saw it on Discovery. Don't be a mule.
I think you're thinking of Jackass.
Turkish prison.
Yeah, exactly. All sorts of weird prisons.
Some gulag somewhere.
All right, if you've got questions for Gordon Strong about the BJCP or about his Ninkasi medals and his beer, you can join the chat room. Just hit the Chat Now button on the brand new homepage. No. But why are you telling me no, Beavis?
Meep.
You can't hit the Chat Now button?
No, you can do that. I was answering your previous question.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Hit the Chat Now button on the homepage.
Instead of typing
one question at a time, please. And you could also call us 888-401-BEER and ask your
Sorry.
questions directly if you'd like to do that. And
So, what book are you reading, Justin?
yeah, what the fuck? We have to have random conversations now. So, do you remember that one time that thing happened and I was in the place?
It just was funny. I was reminiscing. That's
Remember that time when I quit your stupid show because you're mean to me?
Ooh, got us there. Watch everything change right now.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but it sounds good.
Oh, JP, you say that now.
Yeah.
Till he's stuck in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually,
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I like it.
we should say till the chat is stuck with JP.
That's a good point.
Is what we mean to say. All right, Gordon, I want to talk to you about the BJCP. We only have so much time left. And by the way, you've only got about 10 minutes to put your $5 donations in for a raffle ticket to win a Monster Brewing mill. And you can mill your own grain at home. It's a great mill, $250, but $5 gets you a raffle ticket, $20 gets you 4, whatever you want to do. And you got till 7:30, and then we're cutting it off. Everything after that just goes in my pocket. And, happy to have it there.
Yeah, it goes out to the desert.
Yeah. I want to know a little history of the BJCP. When did the BJCP guidelines even start, Gordon?
Well, for a long time there were the HA guidelines, because the BJCP was really part of the HA.
Okay.
Sort of a joint venture with that and this other trade group that nobody had ever heard of. But the BJCP has been on its own for since 95-ish. And I think the first set of guidelines came out shortly after. I mean, I remember seeing a set in 97. And most style guidelines at that point were about 2 sentences long. They were really brief.
Malty, hoppy, done.
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of the information was basically wrong. There was also competing guidelines. There was like the HA guidelines and the BJCP guidelines, and They describe different styles, or they describe styles in different ways. Like at that time, the HA guidelines said Dusseldorf alt beers were chocolatey, which is like totally wrong.
Error.
So anyway, the HA ditched their guidelines and went with the BJCP guidelines, I think, in sometime around 2000. So that really cleaned things up for people entering competitions, because a lot of times people would enter their beers under the wrong guidelines. So it's a lot easier for judges too. They just have to study one thing. So the guidelines as we know them sort of came out in 97 or so, and there was a huge revision in 99. That's the first time they really sort of got beefed up, and those were some serious guidelines. And then there were a major rewrite in 2004. That's the one that I led, and then we just did sort of a minor update last year.
How did they? When you say you ended up with some major guidelines, and so it sounds to me like you feel like they were accurate and they were probably a little more intense, and but where did that come from? I know that's probably not an easy question, but how did you guys decide what the styles were and what were the examples of those styles?
Well, I can just talk about the things that I was involved in, so I'll talk about 2004 and on. I don't really know how it happened in the previous cut of the guidelines.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's a relatively small committee. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 people, and we talked about what we wanted to accomplish. We felt the guidelines were at that point were coming up on 5 years old and needed a facelift. There's some wrong information, and we also wanted to add some styles. So we basically went through, style by style and looked at every sentence and said, does this make sense? Is this accurate? Is this complete? By that time, I judged in a lot of competitions, so I had, I'd seen how people had used and misused the guidelines. And one of the things that was sort of offensive to me was I'd seen judges take advantage of the guidelines when the guidelines were sort of silent on a certain characteristic of a beer.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say that no diacetyl is allowed, so, it must be fine.
I see.
I'm like, well, okay, no. So,
yeah.
So in 2004, one of the things we tried to do is go through and describe the major attributes of every beer. So to say, what if a new judge showed up at a competition, had no idea what the style was, yet got stuck in the style?
Yeah.
Could they read the guidelines and have a reasonable clue of figuring out what to do? That was the objective.
Okay.
And I think we pretty much carried that off, because I've seen that exact scenario happen over and over again. The problem with that is the guidelines got like twice as big.
Right.
Because rather than identifying sort of the key elements of the style, which is what they used to do, they used to just, like the 97 guidelines in particular were written like you had a good knowledge of beer and just needed a memory jog when you were judging. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But most of the judges that actually show up and sit down and judge beers in competition weren't like that. So, that's unfortunate. So the guidelines sort of expanded to be used that way. And it really became sort of like, almost like an encyclopedia of beer. I mean, it's like trying to describe, the range that you find in these styles. So in 2004, we added 8 new styles. And for those, what I tried to do was go out and collect the best commercial examples of the style and sit down and map them out. Like Belgian blondes were one. So, I got like 6 or 7 different Belgian blonde ales, and be clear, I'm talking about ales that...
Too bad, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's
just one Belgian blonde would probably be plenty. But
yeah, you didn't need a whole gaggle of them.
Gaggle?
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and you sit down and you taste them in a structured manner. I mean, you taste them like I don't know if you've seen like the checklist score sheet that came up with recently. So sort of like that. I mean, try to quantify the intensity of hops and the intensity of malt, and then the characteristic of the hop. Is it a citrusy hop or is it an earthy hop? So that would let you nail the range. So, and then you try to talk about them in the order in which you perceive them. So you talk about the most important things first, and then you add the rest of the things later, just trying for completeness.
I see.
So you try to describe the style as, what hits you first, and then, what sort of impression does this leave you with, but you have to be thorough.
So, Gordon, do you and I don't know how to ask this question, so I'm just going to kind of throw it out there. When you get these commercial beers, obviously you're able to tell flaws in a beer, but if it's a style you're not familiar with or you want to fine tune, and maybe there's something not sitting right in your mind with a certain style or with a certain commercial example, will you go back and get another beer of that? Like, you know what I mean? We talk about how beer doesn't travel very well.
That makes total sense.
Okay.
I mean, that can come down to two cases. That can come down to a beer that's good for the style and you just happen to get a crappy example, or it's a crappy example of the style even if it's made well. So, like, we had an example of the latter when we were looking at Baltic porters, and I don't know, it's like we had some comments on this when we first came out with the guidelines. We opened them up for public comment, and people said, how can you judge Baltic porters when, you can't find any commercial examples? I'm like, well, in the Midwest, I can find like 6 or 7 of them, so...
So, neener.
Lucky here. Yeah, right. Yeah, you need to get out more. So, and we had one, and I actually remember the name. It was called Saku, because I remember we were calling it Succo, because it was just, it wasn't like any of the other ones. I mean, if you were drawing a graph of the beers, I mean, this would be like the data point that's way over on the other side that said, dude, you must have messed up in measuring something. So it's sort of the same thing. I mean, you look at the graph and you say, well, all the beers seem to be clustered around this one point, and here's one way the fuck over there. So what are we going to do? Are we going to stretch the style to encompass this? No. We're going to ignore it. And then we're not going to list it as a classic example of the style. So that was, this one Baltic porter. I mean, I tasted sort of like a Scottish ale. It wasn't dark and rich like the others at all.
Like
so
puffy.
we just dropped it. I mean, it was like from Lithuania or something. So I mean, it should have been a reasonable example, but it just wasn't.
All I'm thinking is that you guys got to sit around and taste all the best beers in the world and write these guidelines. I think the writing part would have sucked, but the tasting is pretty good.
Well, yeah, and honestly, the way the tasting, the way the style development went, and we thought about dividing it up, but we wanted to have the guidelines sort of come off with one voice, because that was one of the big problems we had with the 99 guidelines, is they read like, 6 or 7 people wrote it, which was true. Yeah. So what the people on the committee said was, well, why don't they asked me to go ahead and write most of them, and said, well, if you write them, we'll review them. Like, okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
So you just, try a lot of beers. I mean, you guys try a lot of beers, and you if you get a good example, and if it's not just what you get in your local package store. I mean, you travel around the country. If you traveled overseas and try beers over there.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the trips I've made. I've made specific beer trips to go check things out. I've gone to Belgium a couple of times, and the last time I went to Belgium, I took a side trip to Cologne and Dusseldorf for the specific reason of saying, okay, I want to learn what Kolsch and alt really tastes like. And they came back with some big differences, like alt beer. Hey, most alt beers are really a lot lighter than they've been described.
Okay.
That's why it changed from alt beer being brown to alt beer being amber, because I had about 8 different ones there, and none of them were anywhere near brown.
I see. Yeah.
So, some of the changes you saw in the last revision of the guidelines were based on that.
All right.
Sounds like a rough life. It really does. And I want to give my condolences to you and your family, because it sounds awful.
Well, everybody's got to take one for the team.
And you're doing that.
And you're taking several. Like.
you're sometimes taking multiple at once.
Yeah.
I think.
And beers.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but, promise me one thing. Don't put on my headstone, he knew how to take it.
Yeah. He really took a bunch.
Yeah,
not a catcher.
Yeah.
Took a lot.
Bury you ass up.
with a flower in it.
Oh.
But I know Jamil's talked about this too. I mean, when you're trying to understand a style really well, it really helps to go out and try the freshest examples. I mean, you guys on the West Coast have a problem being so far away from Europe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've had these arguments with people before when people say, I'm trying to clone a beer that is like this style. I'm like, well, are you cloning it like that style, or are you cloning it like the style that
you get to taste?
It appears when you get it in your store?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could clone an off beer perfectly, and okay, fine, your beer's still off. But if you've never had the real one, how do you know?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, the guideline said this is a classic example. I'm like, yeah, but you got an off. I've had people try to tell me, like, oh, well, lambics have to be really vinegary because I went to Belgium and I had one. I'm like, well, dude, you like wasted your time in Belgium. You went to Belgium and drank crappy beer. You could have done that here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's exactly right. I mean, how many times have we, in this room, or you too, Gordon, gone to a brewery or something, and you get a stout that tastes more like a brown ale.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes, you can just get bad examples of the style. So I was just curious about how that happens.
So you have to understand that. So a lot of it is, just the buddy system. I mean, you go around, you talk to other people and sort of in the know, and everything has to be peer reviewed. So you write these things and you put it out there and say, fine, this is what we think, this is what we found. Go ahead and tell us if you think it's wrong, and if you think it's wrong, give us a counterexample. When we did the 2004 guidelines, it's sort of like your forums. I mean, we threw up PHP-BB, just like you guys are running, and threw up the guidelines and said, have at 'em. Here's what we're going to publish unless you tell us something's wrong. Oh. But if you say it's wrong, don't just say, well, I think it ought to be this because this is how I make it. That's not going to cut it. But if you said, no, this brewer, give us some data.
Yeah.
If you can cite an example or give us a reference in a book or something.
That's open source BJCP.
Oh,
I dig that.
Yeah, it was open. Anybody can comment.
As long as you can back it up and your source is relevant, that's open source. I dig it.
Yeah, because I mean, really, what we're looking for is we want these guidelines. I have to go to my guideline rant, my style rant thing.
Go ahead.
Because I hear this a lot, and if you were in Denver listening to the keynote speaker there on, like, there should be no styles, blah, 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 blah.
I only listen to myself talk. I don't pay attention, Gordon.
Half the time I think you're not even talking, Gordon.
I haven't even been listening to you.
I'm just playing repeats of my own show in my head.
Yeah, nothing new there.
Yes.
Live your life through self-gratification. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
Talk about taking one for the team.
Yeah. No, go on, please.
A team of one. So, so the rant about styles is, and I especially hear this about Belgians. People say, hey, Belgians say there are no styles, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not really true, because if you whipped out a black triple, people say, what the fuck is this? This isn't a triple. Well, it's my triple. Yeah,
right.
Well, your triple is off. So I mean, there really are styles, even if they don't want to admit them.
Yeah.
But the styles that the BJCP puts out aren't meant to be prescriptive. They're meant to be descriptive.
Right.
They're meant to. People make the styles, and we describe. Okay, this is what people are making, or this is what the historical style was. So it's setting a reference for competition. We're not saying, okay, brewer, if you're going to make this beer, especially professionals, if you're going to make this beer, you better do it this way.
Yeah, of course.
Because we don't care about that at all. I mean, you make whatever you want. Like I said, I had this Surly Bender. It fits nowhere in the style guidelines. It's a 5%, 45 IBU oatmeal brown ale with Belgian malts. It doesn't fit anywhere.
Right. See, and
make whatever you want.
One of Jamil's favorite, one of my favorite quotes from Jamil, we have it in one of our promos running, talking about, the first part of what you're saying here is, he's talking about brewers who say they don't like to brew to style. For example, I've got this Pilsner, but it's black. And he goes, yeah, it's a fucking Schwarzbier. Sometimes even when you think that you're just doing crazy things, it comes from a place, and then maybe you add some things that take it somewhere else. But they're still coming from a.
I got a pale ale, but more hops.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, people have entered that as specialty beers. Pale ale, special ingredient, hops.
Special ingredient, shotgunning is what it is.
Yes. Yeah, good luck with that. So, no, I mean, you have to understand that, and that's why it helps to understand what the purpose of the guidelines for. The guidelines are to give sort of a frame of reference for holding competitions, because otherwise it would just be like going to, a beer festival and having a people's choice.
Yeah.
So, I one of my favorite quotes from a beer festival was when they were still doing the real ale festivals. Ray Daniels, I was talking to him about that because I brought like this ESB, old school ESB, really good. And, Ray says, oh, that's a really good beer. It's not going to win at all because it's not big or goofy.
Yeah.
So, if you want to win something, you have to, like, stand out, in a people's choice. So, life like that would be sort of silly. So, if you want to respect the tradition of these styles, you have to have some frame of reference, and that's really what the guidelines are for. They're meant to give some structure to competition so that the brewers and the judges can be on the same page with what did you intend to do.
Yeah. All right,
and that's all they're for.
I got to keep things moving. I do want to announce that the competition for the mill is over. It's past 7:30, so I hope you got your raffle tickets in time. Chance to win that Monster Brewing Hardware mill. We'll be doing that after the next break. I got a couple questions left for Gordon before we got to go. One of them is mine, and then I got some listener questions for you, Gordon, if you don't mind. But I'm curious about, you had talked about adding a few styles in your last revision. And I'm curious.
So the 2004.
Yeah, in the 04. So I'm curious about what your focus is about adding styles, and when do you decide? I think new beers come out all the time, but of course that style doesn't become a style, I guess, until I don't know how many X amount of people brew it. So how do you guys discover what to add?
Well, sure. That's actually sort of an easy one because the AHA puts out styles, or the Brewing Association puts out styles for like the GABF. Those are sort of like, those are the styles that are on the pulse of current brewers. So they'll have like a separate section for coffee beers and a separate section for imperial, whatever they're making. So they if they get 10 people that make what they call a style of beer, they'll invent a new category like immediately. So, think of that as like the House of Representatives. And, the BJCB is trying to be more like the Senate, trying to be a little bit more deliberate to say, is this thing a fad or is this thing around for real? So, we didn't add like an Imperial Everything category, but we did add an Imperial IPA category because, people have been making those things for a while. I mean, before there was just one IPA category. So, I tell you what, if you made an English IPA, you were going to get boned.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm making one tomorrow.
And you would lose.
You would never win.
Think at the burning.
I mean, you'd submit this thing, and they're like, where's the citrusy hops? Do you know what Kent Goldings are? Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, that's one of the reasons why, I mean, we, between the 99 and the 04 guidelines, we went from one category of IPA to 3, just for that reason.
Okay.
So, we add the styles, if they're not faddish, if they're real. But one of the other things that I tended to look at was, what are people entering in the specialty beer category? Are people entering beers in that category that are legitimate styles, or are they using it as something that's experimental?
That's a good. That's good. That's a good point.
And that is why we added Rogan beer, because Rogan beer is a really sort of minor world style. I mean, it's really hard to find. I mean, you used to be able to get it in this country, but now you really can't.
Okay.
But
you can homebrew.
I'd look at a lot of the winners of the specialty category, and a lot of them were Rogan beers. I'm like, well, that shouldn't be competing against people that are coming up with something creative on their own. I mean, that's a legit style, so let's break that off.
I see.
So that's the way I look at it is, if a lot of people are making it, a lot of people are entering it, then chances are it's a real style. So, that's why the people involved in the guidelines have to be out judging in competitions and talking to people and seeing what people are really actually brewing and doing.
The reason I'm really asking is because I make this carpet porter that
Carpet Star Sand Porter.
Yeah, what you do is you make a
Carpet
really
Muncher Porter.
Well, you make it's not quite that good yet.
Yeah.
But first you make
Well, keep working on it.
you make a really good porter, and then
Add some parsley.
You go to sleep and you allow it to leak out all over the carpet, and then you extract as much of it back out of the carpet and into the keg as you can. And let me tell you, I think it's the next big thing. You heard it here
Vacuumed
first.
or unvacuumed?
Yeah, it could be. The stock guideline would breed something like carpet aroma, moderate to high. Yeah.
And it could be part of the guideline too. Gordon, you ask a good question. Like, do you vacuum it out of the carpet, or do you use some other method of extracting it from the carpet? I think it could all be.
Right. Well, you have your traditionalists who would cut out that square and ring it.
Well, Beer and More Beer would make a gadget that would.
But we would make a wet vac. Is really what we would
Right,
do.
and camera would really object if you used like CO2 extraction.
No,
That's
you wouldn't
true.
want to
No,
do that.
I would suck it myself, and I think so that camera
You might
would
have
approve.
to under the German purity laws.
Yeah,
I'd have to
they're on Heitzke carpet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So look at
I can't top that. You win.
You heard it here first. Carpet porter is your next style that you just be on the lookout. That's all I'm saying.
You just need to enter the specialty category.
You know,
dude, how cool would that be for nationals if we have like 6 or 8 douchebags actually enter something in specialty beer called carpet porter, filtered through a carpet?
And you could give them to the Brits, and you could call it shag carpet porter.
Nice.
Shagalicious.
And again, I love him.
That's right. I am back.
Yeah.
Just when I said you win.
That's right. You're back.
Put it up for a vote.
You just got shagged.
Oh.
Got served there.
All right, a couple questions from the chat room for you, Gordon. Let's see what we got here. They've been coming through the whole time that we've been yapping. Let's see. Will a beer get points taken away if it has chill haze? Someone has asked.
Very, very rarely.
Okay.
I mean, that was always one of the crappy things I didn't like about the AHA guidelines. They wouldn't say what the hops tasted like, but they'd say whether or not you should have chill haze. I mean, come on, no beer should have chill haze. I mean, number one, if you've got chill haze, chances are you're serving the beer at the wrong temperature. So why don't you serve it at the right temperature next time, bitch?
Oh, snap!
Is this Bub?
I know.
Well, and if you do, that's only appearance, right? So it's only 3 points. So you might lose 1 point out of that, right? Is that
right. I mean, or you could just sort of like, just hold it for a minute and let it warm up and see if it goes away, and then you wouldn't take away any points.
No.
If the beer's at the wrong temperature and you're judging the appearance based on that, if it cleared up, a judge should take that into account.
All right. Another question: have you noticed a difference in traditional hoppy beers during the hop shortage that we're experiencing? I think they're all judging questions for you so far.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of like what I consider to be new beer styles, new styles of IPAs and American Pale Ales that are really starting to fall outside those guidelines.
I don't know. I was going to say, Tasty, you brought some hops. You brought some hops in your beers this year, didn't you?
Sure. Yeah. It cost me a lot of money to do that, for sure. I mean, I can only do that so long.
But it's the Nationals. I mean,
yes.
This is.
Oh yeah, I doubled it. Yeah. Twice the dry hop.
You're not going to give this beer to like just whatever asshat walks by and says, "Give me your beer." I mean, you have
Yeah, I brewed like my IPA for the second round.
You got your carpet puncher porter for that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of begs a question. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to anyway.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, well, I don't know if it's appropriate. How do you get new styles? I know you kind of covered it, Jay, earlier about how do you decide to add. But if you have some styles that I know are like hop dependent. And if you get a resurgence, maybe in the hop shortage of different hops with that same style, is it considered its own kind of category, or is it just?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, if you check some of the guidelines, we stretched like the English Pale Ale / ESB category to try to cover some of the experimental things the Brits are doing. Sort of saying, this was back when you could get so you get like a hopback Summer Lightning.
Like cap teeth, or what are you talking about?
Like braces?
No, you're like no. I mean, suppose you get sort of a golden ESB with Cascade hops, but it's British malts, British yeast, and that's essentially what a Summer Lightning is.
I see.
The British are coming out with some experimental things, So they're stretching the styles a little bit, so we tried to sort of follow them a little bit. Some of the styles are much broader than others, and I won't go into the details here, but if people are doing the play-at-home version, go look up English mild or old ale and see how broad those categories are. See how much variation brewers can enter versus something like a Kolsch, which is a very narrow style. Some styles allow more variability than others, and judges have to recognize that, hey, not every combination of attributes in a style is going to make sense. So, you got to taste it and saying, hey, is this one of the legit variations of an old ale?
So if you got marked down on your Belgian Dark Strong for having phenols, that's not a variance.
No, that's probably bad judging unless the phenols were really sort of nasty.
It sounds like a personal question to me, JP.
I'm not bringing any personal thing into it.
It's all theoretical.
I tell you, judging is subjective. never forget that.
Oh, totally. No, I was just goofing around.
And it really is like running an experiment. You can't determine a trend with one data point.
No,
you enter one competition, you get one judge tells you, your beer is this. Saying like, okay, that's an opinion.
It is.
If you get 12 judges telling you all the same thing, you're like, well, maybe they're onto something.
Yeah. And me, Justin, I'm not bringing personality into this at all.
Of course not. No.
Okay.
I would tend to think that maybe there are 12 stupid judges on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. And 24,
well,
24
I got
dumb
some of
ones.
my second-round score sheets back, and some pretty high-ranked judges came up with some pretty stupid things on the score sheets.
It does happen.
It happens.
It happens, yeah.
Did you go kick him straight in the sack, or what?
Not yet.
Because all the judges. You know what? You better not know it's Gordon when you start writing shitty comments, because he knows every judge, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the organizer. So.
Well, I got the database, too. I know where you live.
That's your email address.
Do you ever see that?
Your home address.
And home address.
You get pictures of your wife.
Oh!
Dear, oh
Do
dear.
you ever see a judge that you've trained on fill out a score sheet of yours and you just go, come on, I taught you better than that?
Well, yeah.
All right.
It's disappointing, but come on, you got to man up and say, everybody's got an off day.
Yeah.
And and it's really the responsibility of any judge, particularly any BJCP judge. You're judging with somebody. If they put in something, if they're just like phoning it in, you have to look at that and say, dude, you don't even have to say anything else. You just have to use the right tone.
Dude.
Exactly.
Dude.
Yeah, if you don't want to be here, then, don't be here.
Yeah, right. If you want to go drink cheap beer, go drink your Carpet Muncher Porter.
It's just carpet. You're making a whole new style, and you're taking my style.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Get your own dude.
Yeah, dude.
Get your own carpet style.
Really?
Dude.
Come on.
Really? Dude.
Well, he can have the shag style, and you can have the low pile.
Did that just happen, Gordon? Did you... Really?
Oh my God! Shut up,
dude. Last listener question that came through from our chat room: do you tend, I guess, in your personal brewing, do you push the style guidelines in competition brewing? And I think this goes back to maybe the comment about the beer really has to stand out to win. Do you push the style?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what that means. It's the usual talk about like big beer always wins. It depends on where you're entering it. If you're entering it in, Podunkville, then go ahead and push the edge.
Okay.
But if you're entering it in some place where you have good judges, they'll call you on it. And I got to give props to Steve McKenna from Chicago. One time I made a 5-gallon batch of IPA, and he used 3 ounces of Tomahawk hops, which were 17 alpha, and bittering, and he's like, your IPA is too bitter. I found him afterwards, and they said, the confidence as a judge that it takes to actually write that line, got to respect.
Yeah.
The balls that it takes.
Yeah.
You got to know to say that.
Right. How
the
do you walk
cones on
with
this
balls
dude
that big?
Yeah.
But the thing is, he was right. It could have used some more aging, and after another year, it was a whole lot better. I don't know if you find that recipe sort of online. I mean, I based it on this Sister Star of the Sun thing that you find on Cat's Meow or whatever.
Sister
The
Christian.
guy's adding, a shitload of hops in there, and okay, well, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to wrap things up, Gordon, because I got to do this raffle. People want themselves a mill. And I got to do that.
You got to save enough time for me to braid your hair.
And I got.
I've been so waiting to bust you out on that.
I can't believe you just dropped that.
Red,
bomb,
white, and blue.
Beavis.
Slap from the east.
Oh boy!
What's this about?
Out
now?
of nowhere.
Well,
You're braiding your hair?
I am going to let my freak flag fly in Burning
Don't
Man.
call it a
this year.
comeback. I've been here for years.
Yeah, I will be braiding a few locks of my mane.
Natty dread.
Oh, no.
To
You
go
need to
out.
tell them the best part of this.
There will also be ribbons and beads braided into the locks.
Nice.
Can all be wearing a dress.
God, it's so weird. It's so weird that the archiver just totally stopped working. This whole show. This whole show won't
Going
even appear.
metrosexual on us.
Henning, you better be ripping this stream.
Yeah,
wow,
well,
ribbons and stuff. Are you going to have like a frilly collared shirt and walk around with a cane and a parasol or what?
No, but I think you guys shouldn't be so judgmental.
No, we're not judging
Don't
you.
worry,
It'd be
I'll
like
make
an
you
Olympic
pretty.
gymnast.
Oh, no. There's no
You're
judgment
going to be the
required.
prettiest little freak at Burning Man.
Nice ribbons.
Thank you. That's why you're doing it.
I'll be wearing my ribbons and beads and giving hand jobs around the back of the RV for $5.
Gordon, I'm sorry you had to hear all this. I know you had a lot of respect for me before this interview.
Hey, I've heard the drunk of the week, so I can take it from here.
Oh,
too.
yeah, you know the low points of this show.
You know the deal. All right, Gordon Strong, everybody. Listen,
That was awesome.
I think that you could come back and do a whole show about clone brewing with us also. That's also in your credentials. So,
Hey, anytime you want to have me on to talk about whatever you want,
cool.
I'll hang with you guys.
Oh, that's great.
I appreciate that.
Let's do it live next year.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
if you're coming to NHC, then
And then we can ditch the Skype thing because the people on the chat aren't down with the Skype.
No, they would. Everyone always likes
Yeah.
to live, and so do we. It's a lot more fun, Gordon. We'd be getting off the air and going drinking right now.
Although this is a
I'm not
really
gonna-
good phone interview.
I'm not going to be
with that
running
thing.
the stupid thing next year, so I'm going to have all sorts of time.
Oh,
So
good.
I'll just be ragging on Jameel.
We'll get him in the studio so you can do that.
I'll have you both here.
I just got
Yeah,
a... This just in, text message from Sully canceling sponsorship.
Oh. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Just because of the braids?
Well, he doesn't want to pay for beads.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't be so judgmental.
He's older.
Well,
he
Sully,
can.
Sully, will you responsor us if I put beads and braids in JP's beard?
Oh,
I would do that.
I get him back.
Oh, that's got re-up written all over it.
Yeah.
Benoit beads.
Can raise his rates.
All right, Gordon. Thanks very much, my brother. I appreciate it.
I love hanging with you guys.
That was awesome, man.
It was a great time, Gordon.
Yeah.
All right. Next time, I think competition, or rather, clone brewing with you.
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
looking forward to something like that.
Anything you want.
Great.
Yeah, find an excuse to come out here, try some West Coast IPAs, get in the studio.
Hey, been there, done that, but I'll do them in the studio with you guys anytime.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, brother.
Later.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Gordon Strong, everybody. We're going to take a break. The raffle. We're doing it right now. We're going to draw. We're going to put the names together at the break, and then we'll draw a name. One of you lucky donators is going to win a Monster Brewing Hardware mill when we come back. Hang in
Monster
there.
Mill.
It's the session.
Attention homebrew shop owners at Fermentap. They know you're tired of buying the same old gear that everyone else has. That's why Fermentap offers the newest and most cutting-edge brewing equipment known to man. Since 1998, Fermentap has been leading the fight against the boring and mundane by offering strange, unique, and just plain smart equipment. Like their stainless domed false bottoms. Never deal with the floating plastic hassle of other false bottoms again. And since they're made from stainless steel, they'll last a lifetime. Fermentap's line of copper Vapor Wart Chillers are the best on the market, designed to cool your wort faster and more efficiently than other immersion chillers. They actually invented the equipment to make these chillers not only work great, but look great too. How about a fantastic line of ingredients, including vanilla beans, sorghum extract, blue agave extract, hop bitterness extract, unique wine yeasts, green coffee beans, sake kits, all stuff you can't find anywhere else. Fermentap carries all the standard products and equipment you need as well, such as all grain systems, stainless hardware, kettles, carbonation stones, you name it, they've got it. Fermentap's entire line of products has been helping retail shops meet the demands of their customers for nearly 10 years, and they want to help you too. For more information, see them on the web at fermentap.com or call Jason at 1-800-942-2750. Fermentap, better beer through innovation.
Tasty. Can. Tasty. Tasty can. Tasty. Tasty can. Tasty. 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 Eco Freight can. Eco Freight. Freight. Eco Freight. Eco Freight. Hi, I'm Freight. Sean Sean O'Sullivan, the brewmaster and co-founder of the 21st Amendment Brewery and Restaurant in San Francisco. Crack open a cold 21A in San Francisco. Crack 21A. Crack 21A. IPA in cans. Crack longer in San Francisco. Longer pressure. Packaged longer. Pressure longer. In San Francisco. Brewmaster in San Francisco. Well, that's right, cans. Tasty packaged. Cans. Local neighborhood brew pub. Hi. Well, I'm Sean O'Sullivan. Tasty crack cans. Tasty crack cans. Brewmaster and co-founder of the 21st Amendment Brewery and Restaurant in San Francisco. San Francisco. Tasty brewmaster. That's right, master. Well, that day has come.
Hey, Push, the new brewery's looking good.
Thanks, Finn. Piece by piece.
Well, let's fire her up. Whoa! Is that a new kettle?
Yeah, just got it brand new, but paid half price.
What? And that blade scale?
40% off.
The new tap handle?
$5 instead of 13. Got a new regulator for the brew stand, too, but $5 instead of 25.
Dude, where are you stealing all this stuff from?
Where else? The More Beer deal of the day.
Announcing the Beer, and More Beer deal of the day. Every day, a new fantastic deal from big items to small that will blow you away. Boil kettles, carboy carriers, sterile siphon starters, digital timers. Watch morebeer.com every day for a new deal, and you just might find the item you've been waiting for at a price you cannot believe. Hurry, because stock is limited on most items.
And that sweet Guinness cap, let me guess. The More Beer deal of the day. Yeah, I knew it. Come on, let's brew something. Find the More Beer deal of the day at morebeer.com. Celebrity voices impersonated.
Mix me your 100-grain amber recipe, and I'm going to eat it. And then it can ferment in my gut. It totally works. The beer is almost identical to the grain sandwich.
Your colon won't know what hit it.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. You're listening to The Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
right, we are back, and very exciting around here. We're going to be raffling off a Monster Hardware grain mill. MonsterBrewingHardware.com is where you can go to check it out. It's a 3-roller stainless steel upgraded big shaft grinder thing.
Grind your shaft.
It's a great mill. It's a really nice mill, and one of you lucky and very generous listeners who has bought a $5 raffle ticket is going to win it. And Shat's going to send it, and I'm not going to do anything. Just going to hang out.
Good. That's a role reversal.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what we call the old role reversal.
Role reversal.
I learned that in college.
Call that the norm.
The norm.
So we are tallying them now. The names are being put together in a hat because some of you donated multiple times, and we do appreciate that of you, and helps us out. We also want to really thank Monster Brewing Hardware for donating the mill to us so that we could do this for you. So we are putting the names in a hat. You're going to have to hang in there for just a little while, and I predict we'll have it done in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll be announcing the winner right here on the air.
We're putting in a sack. Bevo's putting all the names in a big sack.
She's got the big sack in front of her.
Yeah, she's reaching into it
and placing things in it. Well, that's just weird.
Well, she's taking very good care of the sack.
That's good.
Gingerly, all that kind of thing.
She's had some practice over the last year or so.
Well, it's about time.
How long have you guys been married now?
6 months yesterday.
Other one.
Turn your microphone on.
Yeah, put your headphones on. You don't even know your microphone's off.
6 months
yesterday.
Such a chick. 6 months and 8 hours just a minute ago.
Okay,
54 seconds, 55,
the only reason
56?
I know that is because my mom was like, "Do you want me to make you dinner, like a special anniversary dinner?" And I'm like, "No."
It's not
That's
an anniversary.
gay.
I hate it when people do the.
It's our
I don't even want to celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
It's our 1 month anniversary.
Isn't anniversary by definition an annual thing?
Probably.
So it has to happen once a year, right?
Yeah.
Not once every few months.
It's our 4-month anniversary.
No,
We're
it's
just
not. It's your
so
4 month,
happy.
fourth month.
Yeah.
It's your 4th month.
Yeah.
Or it's your 6th month. It's not your anniversary.
Yeah, or you're you're third of the way into the year.
Anniversary is an annual thing. Yeah, but
by the way, speaking of anniversaries, John Plissé announced his engagement on the Janelle Show yesterday.
Oh, he did.
He announced it officially.
Going public.
Went public, and I said,
on purpose.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Good for him.
Whatever, Beavis.
Yeah, you should not. Yeah.
You don't even agree with that.
Don't encourage that. Oh.
You don't even agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
You got married.
I hope everybody's as happy as I am.
Do you want another tissue? Because you're crying through the first one. You only.
I'm so happy.
You only got married to Sam because he's a good catch, and you didn't want to lose him. But you don't believe in the institution of marriage, right?
All right, we do have a Drunk of the Week phone call in the meantime while we're tallying up the names to the winner of a Monster Brewing Hardware grain mill. Shoelight has brought in garden clippers for us to cut up the names.
Those are tin snips, dude. So if you have like sheet metal to cut, yeah.
Shoelight, good work, buddy.
Hey, way to come through.
Yeah, why don't you go take a nap or something?
He is such a meathead. Like,
He is.
You know, like just like I
sorry, did
I
you
found
guys-
these tin snips.
Did you guys come up with anything to cut the paper with?
I don't know. Why don't you just tear them? Why don't you? I'll just look at them real tough.
I found these hedge clippers.
Tell you what, I'll take it to the gym. I'll break that piece of paper down.
Let me put it on my bench press. I'll cut right in half. And put it under my back.
I could bench press 10 of these things.
These things really suck, by the way.
Well, yeah, they're for cutting 10.
Yeah, Jen, you're just wasting your time.
Might lose a finger here.
I'm going to put them between my muscular ass cheeks and just pinch them. I'm going to pinch them into little swirls.
Oh, gross.
Oh, he flexed them. Junk in the trunk.
Philly Beer Geek is on the line. A Drunk of the Week phone call. What's happening, brother?
Those scissors going. They're just sitting there. I think.
Man, how you doing? How you doing?
We're doing pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I got a list for you guys here.
What you had to drink?
My club are case buy this weekend, so I got a 24 case of mixed beers to go through.
All right.
Night was a fun night.
What have you had so far?
Bell's Cherry Stout, Caddy Light Lager, Dagon Celtic Cider, Erbach 23, Monk's Flemish Sour, Old Plowshare Organic Stout, 1050 in a can, Speakeasy White Lightning, Two Brothers Domaine DuPage, Brooklyn Lager in a can. They make that in a can now. Can you believe that?
Wow. Oh, interesting.
No. Triple Carmelite, and then 3 more Brooklyns in a can.
He's pulling a brew tattoo on us, calling him with this long list of beers, but he sounds totally sober.
I'm very good at that, man. Last my bro's birthday last week, and I had an entire bottle of gin in martini form, and then a couple beers, and I was fine. But,
Interesting. How much you weigh? What are you, 400 pounds?
255.
200.
200 pounds, huh?
How much does the rest of you weigh?
Oh, come on.
Oh, that's like 30 right there.
You're just a pro, huh? Because you got the resume. I mean, that sounds nice. And by the way, good beers. It sounds like a lot of good choices. But I don't know, drunk of the week.
What I'd like to do is shotgun a can of Brooklyn on air.
Okay, all right. We could try that. We'll have to hear it. I mean, mostly make sure we get to hear the splash, and then also it's sort of the after chug that is the only thing that makes good radio, like how that whole expression you have after.
That other show, Olympics, you got to listen to that.
Yeah, like when you're... Yeah, like exactly. Like when you sound like us. That's what we want to hear.
All right, well, I'm going to set the phone down right now.
Okay. All right. So make bad choices in your life.
So we'll
sound like us.
We'll have to listen a little bit.
All right, here we go. He's going to shotgun a Brooklyn Lager on the air for Drunk of the Week. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I want to do this at home.
My phone doesn't short out when I spray it with beer.
I hope so, too.
All right, we'll be ready for that.
We'll keep it in your face.
Is it going down?
Fighting a little bit there.
Sounds like he's being attacked.
Oh, God!
Sounds like I want to come back up.
God damn it.
Sounds like a hooker I had the other night.
Thought you could take this.
Was it you or the hooker, JP?
I don't want to talk about it. I was fooled. Let's put it that way.
How you feeling, buddy?
No, that's great, man. I want to do it again.
All right.
Again.
Sounded pretty good.
You do it again?
Again.
I don't know.
Again.
I don't want to be responsible for your alcohol poisoning. I'm not going to encourage you to shotgun another one. But that was pretty good. You're at the top of the list for Drunk of the Week right now.
You're also the first
you
caller.
ask the guys in the chat. Like, I can handle another one. They'll tell you I can. You want me to do another one?
I'm sure you can. I just, when the ambulance shows up and then my name's involved, it just gets ugly. It's happened before. She lied though. It was all a lie.
Yeah.
There's no this time. Come on now.
Well, let's see what happened. Just hang in there for a second. Let's see if we get any other Drunk of the Week calls, my brother. But that was a pretty good chug.
Well, you know what though? Do me a favor. Put me on hold because I'm out in the middle of my woods, so I can't really listen. So if you could put me on hold in any way.
I can't because then the line's busy, so I can't put you on hold.
Hang up.
Yeah, I gotta hang.
Right.
I just gotta hang. What I'll do is I'll announce you as Drunk of the Week, and you'll know. You could download the show and all that, so you'll know. Or you can call back in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, brother. Good work. Good effort. All right, there you go. Philly Beer Geek chugging a Brooklyn Lager. Shotgunning it out of a can, even. Craft beer in a can.
That's tomorrow.
That's right. Cans.
Sounded like he was felching it out of a can, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
How we doing on the tally? We're getting there?
We're almost there.
We're getting close?
Another couple minutes or so.
All right. The lovely Bevo will do the topless drawing for us on today's program.
What we do is we smear the breasts with peanut butter, and you just put your chest into the sack.
Whichever one is closest to the nipple is the winner.
Whichever one gets caught in my mouth when you have to clean you up. It's
now,
kind of a thing.
That's
vulgar.
That's going too far.
That's just too graphic.
It's a family thing. It's fine.
We are not family.
No, it's been in my family.
Well, yeah, as if you were a baby or something.
I am not your sister.
It's been in my family for generations. It's fine. It's how we,
Just because I am from Pennsylvania does not mean that I'm that kind of girl.
So you're not Greek, you're telling us.
Pennsylvania? I thought you were from heaven.
All right, we're leading up to our drawing for a Monster Brewing Hardware mill. It's the 3-roller mill that we've got here. And it's all stainless steel. That's an upgrade. Plus, we've got the larger shaft, which apparently is an upgrade, although I've always heard... well, never mind. But it has everything you could want in a mill.
Depends on how you grind it.
Yeah, and it's fully...
grindable.
Knurled,
fully knurled
by a professional knurler.
Knurlist?
I think knurling should be an Olympic sport.
It's like curling but drunk.
Yeah.
American knurlers. It's a new show that we're going to be putting out here on the BN. American Knurlers. It'll be our first video series.
Knurling Garage.
Yeah. We're going to do Knurling Garage here. Tasty's going to be he'll be the host.
Yeah, right.
of Knurling Garage.
This boring show you ever done.
Tasty will be like,
oh, hey, here we are again in the garage.
And we're knurling.
Yes. But it'll be video, so it'll be a little more entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Have our names been placed into
we're just moments away. I can hear a drum roll start.
over here.
Into the sack.
We're really close, and we're getting there. I do have another Drunk of the Week while we're getting that ready. I've got VW Addict on the line. Let's see what's happening. VW Addict, what's happening, brother?
Hey, man, what's up?
Just doing our thing over here. What's up with you?
Gulp of IPA.
You just took a big gulp of IPA?
He just fell.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Where are you calling from?
Massachusetts.
Good.
I think
the questions get harder now, so take a deep breath.
That dude forgot where he was calling from.
No, he's calling from the 51st state, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That's it.
53rd.
53rd state, I see. And, all right, what have you had to drink tonight, good sir?
How many?
That and what?
Yeah. I don't even know.
I don't even know her.
I was supposed to go to a beer fest, one, but
sounds like you did anyway.
Our boat broke and ended up changing the starter, and that took a few hours. And then it was thirsty, so I started drinking a few beers, and then I was drinking beer on the boat all day, and then I ended up back here, and I had 12 or 17, something like that.
I had 12 or 9, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe 23,
I don't even count anymore.
I was drinking Stone IPA, and...
Oh, that'll do it.
That's worth drinking there.
I don't know why you're asking so many questions anyway.
You called me. What do you want?
Hey, this is long distance from Master Mama.
Why'd you call me anyway?
It's late here, you fucker.
Yeah, what did you woke me up. I was sitting there peeing myself. Working on my burr. Putting a new starter in my burr.
My butt.
It's almost midnight after work in the morning. I mean,
you're gonna hurt tomorrow. You're gonna be doing this tomorrow.
Motorin', what's your price for flight? And finding Mr. Right will be alright tonight.
Now you take it.
You take it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Your price for flight. That's all I got.
No, that's good. Drunk of the week.
You win.
There we go. Hey, congratulations, brother. You did a good job.
All right, man.
All right, catch
You can sleep tonight.
Happy boating.
Yeah, you can
Drink some water.
Let him drive.
Just let me know where it's at.
Your life is complete. You've now made Drunk of the Week, sir.
Yeah.
So,
It is a gratifying feeling.
it is, isn't it? You've experienced it.
I do know.
Yeah. You know how he's going to feel in the morning.
It happens.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Good for him.
How are we doing on that raffle?
Bevo has the sack.
I have the sack, and I'm ready to touch it.
You ready to reach into the sack?
I don't know the words.
I don't know the words.
We're going to do the whole raffle like this. It is finding Mr. Right, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let me shake my sack for Bevo to touch.
Shake the sack. Get that sack good and shaken.
I'm shaking the sack right now.
You guys have no idea how close I am to Burning Man right now. My brain is gone. I am so out of here.
Checked out, huh?
Well, no, you're already planning on what sequins to put in your hair.
What beads?
They're not sequins.
All right.
Well, they should be.
Do you think we could braid a glow stick into my hair?
You should have gotten some glow-in-the-dark ribbon.
Oh, God. Can we not?
Yeah, along with the paint.
I got glow-in-the-dark body paint.
We could paint some hair.
Yeah. After I shave it all off, if you know what I mean.
Can we not talk about this?
We can paint some back. I know you want to talk about this.
I'm really
Permanent marker.
All
right,
So,
we are
can we
giving away a Monster Brewing Hardware mill. It's the upgraded Super 3-roller version, and that is courtesy of monsterbrewinghardware.com. That's where you can go get it.
And the chat would also like to know how much was donated.
$5.
Remember Justin's ability to add.
Yeah,
$5.
I'm pretty sure like $1 million came through tonight. $5 at a time.
We're going to be off for the next 8 years.
Yeah, I'm on vacation until
It's gone.
it's gone. Which is sometime after Burning Man.
Yeah. All right, Bevo, here, take my sack.
I don't know. I don't know how much was donated, but you guys, I will say this: you brought it really strong, and I'm pretty sure that we can afford to turn the AC on again when I'm back for our next show.
A lot of names.
So there is a lot of names in the bag, right? All right, Bevo's reaching into the sack. She's kneading the things that are inside of the sack, make sure they're good and shuffled.
But gingerly though, because she's rough,
firm,
but with a nice touch.
Yeah. You can tell.
And she has a creepy look on her face.
She knows the way around a bag for sure.
To admit. Oh, she's licking. She licked the sack.
She licked the sack.
That's for good luck. So whoever wins just got a good luck sack lick from Bevo. And, all right,
that's extra.
Ladies and gentlemen, maybe I might have a sound effect or something.
Do we have a drum roll? Hang on.
Let me,
too premature there.
I got a bunch of.
I'm keeping it.
I got a bunch of things from the BNAs. That might something like that.
Oh yeah, some sort like a. And the winner for the best live sex scene.
Oh.
And the winner for the Shaft thing.
Oh, wait, this one's too serious.
Okay.
Hang on. Here's
pretty good, though.
Here's the music for the douche award. Maybe this one was good. No, that's too
No, that's stupid.
You need a basic drum roll.
That should be for the drunk of the week call, though. There you go.
There we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Bevo is now going to announce the winner of the Monster Brewing Hardware mill, donated by monsterbrewinghardware.com. All of you were so generous in buying raffle tickets. Bevo, please tell us who is the lucky winner.
Mr. Paul Key.
Paul Key! Ladies and gentlemen,
Happy milling, Paul.
Key.
Mill away.
Wow, lots of you donated, and try hard. Some of you donated multiple times. I don't know if Paul Key was one of those.
I think he had a few.
But do you think he had a couple in there?
I think he was as many as some
Key
of the other
Daddy.
people, but
All right. Paul Key, congratulations, and thank you to everybody for donating. That really, it's going to go a long way. You have no idea how much that helps. Some of you do have an idea how much that helps, and I really appreciate that, and we appreciate it, of course, from Monster Brewing Hardware. Go over there, check them out, and just give them a good thanks for doing that for us, because if you think about the history of the show, we've not had a whole lot of that happen. That was very nice.
No, definitely. It's definitely important to let these people who donate stuff to us know how much it means to you.
Absolutely. So thank you all for playing and contributing. Bevo, thank you for drawing that topless.
Yeah, and for wearing a skirt.
Yeah.
Way to grab
you're
the
welcome.
sack.
Yeah.
I wasn't topless, but I am wearing
It's
a
not very
skirt.
cold in here.
No, you were topless.
Come on, Bevo.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
You guys are so creepy.
Show 'em.
All right, we're off the air next week. Don't forget
Yeah.
about that. It's Labor Day weekend. Go do something with your family for a change. Hang out with them and
reintroduce yourself to them.
tell them you love them. Or brew beer, man. I don't care. Just do something meaningful with your time. And we'll be back the week after.
So I think Paul Key is Blobber Glop.
Blobber gloody globby globby gloopy globby gloppa.
I think so. Is that right?
He'll have to tell you in the chat room there. It's a delay. You'll have to type it. Wow. I hope so, because then for the next month we can say blobby globy gleeby glooby globby glotty gloody glop won the Monster Brewing Hardware mill.
Yeah.
Which would be a lot of fun for us.
That's a third of our
Easy to say,
content.
too.
In fact, that should be our Drunk of the Week test for the next couple of weeks, is that you have to say blobber gleedy gloody globby glooby gleeby gloppy gloop.
Yeah, who won the Monster Mill?
Is it him? Have you found out, Beavis? Confirmation?
He's not responding.
He's hammered. He's happy to win his mill.
Yeah, he's celebrating.
Yep. He's happy. He's beating his head against the wall.
All right, we'll find out later. All right, so we're off next week. We're back the week after that, possibly with Homer number 2. It's a barbecue show. I'll post it on the homepage for you. In the meantime, books, podcasts, and shirts are available through the Brewing Network store, as well as AHA memberships. You can buy Brew Your Own Magazine off of the homepage just by clicking that banner that says Brew Your Own Magazine. You get a great magazine, and we get a little cut of that, so it helps everybody. And please visit and shop from our sponsors. You don't have to...
no, it's not Blobber.
It's not Blobber. Okay, that's too bad. I'm not going to say it again then.
Paul Key, get a good name like blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Visit and shop from our sponsors. They're wonderful people. And don't worry about the Google ads, because we got dropped from Google.
Did we?
Yeah. They,
Why?
I don't know. I haven't found out yet. I have to appeal.
Oh.
It
You're not
wasn't
very,
a- it
you're not
wasn't
very
a lot
appealing,
of-
though.
There wasn't a lot of income, but they dropped me, and they don't Google. They're dicks. They don't even say why, and they don't give you a reason. They just say you can appeal here. And by the way, once you appeal, if we say no again, you can fuck off for life.
Like a hot chick.
So it's a whole thing. I don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Out.
Pale ale is a friend of mine, and I sure like good barley wine. Chocolate porter, cherry stout, yeah, you know what